What's happening? This is Djordje, your friendly neighborhood bullfiddle cat. And I already see quite a few people here. So welcome. If this is your first time being here, this is the live stream, the Slapstream, the only live stream dedicated to slap bass technique on the upright bass. I have a website that's called Art of Slap Bass, and I've been featuring bass players that I respect and that I think deserve to be featured. And I've been doing that for about 11 years now. And a few months ago, I just started doing the slap stream with Djordje live from Slapsville. And it's been going great. You know, I'm featuring all these guys that I really like and that I want to learn from and that I respect, and trying to create a nice community of us slap bass players. First question that I always ask is like, do you hear me well? So please, I see there's like quite a few people here. So please, somebody say like you hear me enough, or you need more, or you need less. And once my guest joins, you'll tell me the level of our voices. Okay, so it seems that you're hearing us fine. All right, I would like to feature some of the comments. Johan from Sweden. We have Aratatata from Basque. I assume that's either Spain or maybe France. Medwins from Ukraine. Hello, I know you guys. I'm not sure, like Sylvan, what he meant when he said who, but we are here. Carlos from Anaheim. Carlos, I hope you're good with all these fires going around. John Stenzel is our regular here. Howdy. Nicole, I think this is your first time, so welcome. Then we have Carson. Andrew is also regular from Russia. You guys are all over the place. Psycho bitch out of hell. Welcome. All right, somebody's in Shitsville. So I'm in Slapsville. All right, so I'm not gonna read every single one, but I'm glad that you hear me fine. So some of you probably do not know. So I've been a bass player for a long time. I've been playing in quite a few bands over time for last 5 years, 5 or 6 years with Tiger Army. Before that, Drake Bell. Before that, Lemmy Kilmister from Motorhead in a band HeadCat. I also have my solo projects, but this show is not about me. This show is all about my guests, and I want you to be focused on my guests and ask them questions. This is your unique opportunity to ask them whatever you want, and I'll do my best to feature your questions, and he'll do his best to answer them. I got like one question about supporting the live stream. Let me see. It's from VV. Yes, all the links are below this video. And if you feel like becoming my Patreon, you can check out my Patreon page. I offer quite a few cool perks. And or if you just want to donate, there's like PayPal and Venmo links. And please, all of you can subscribe to the channel, and that means a lot these days. And please follow Art of Slap Bass. All the links are below. And before I introduce my guest, and you probably know who he is, I would like to thank all the new Patreons and all the people that donated over time. It really helps out. You guys rule. And I would like to thank my designer, Fernando from Buenos Aires, who is now Fernando from Spain since he moved to Spain. And his links are below as well. So make sure to check him out. Excellent bass player and excellent guy, great friend. And without further ado, I would like to introduce my guest today, which is my first Psychobilly guest. I did 13 episodes so far, no Psychobilly. And now it's time for Psychobilly. Ladies and gentlemen, Kim Nekroman. Oh, and he's sleeping.
Oh,
Oh,
fuck. What time? Is it 11?
oh,
Is it 11 already? Morning.
yes. I gave you 7 minutes, man, to rest.
I'm tired today.
Yeah, we all are for the last 5 months or so.
So how are you
It is
doing?
what it is. I'm doing pretty good. How are you? You're over there closer to the fires.
Yeah, it smells like a big old bonfire constantly outside. It's so bad, but
Wow. Do you feel it in the house as well?
I do unless I have the AC on. We tried earlier to have the AC on here, and it's just going to be too noisy. So I'm probably going to sweat my ass off.
You know, one point, I want you to feel comfortable, so feel free to turn it on
Yeah, I
anytime
mean,
I'm here.
I could probably take a break or something. Like
Yeah,
half-hour break.
Slapsville is close to the beach, so I
Yeah.
have the ocean breeze here.
Well, we don't have that here in Coffinville, so
Well, it's matter of life choices.
that's true.
So how have you been doing? What have you been doing like during the end of the world thing?
Um, Not much. I I watch a lot of TV, um, and I've been thinking a lot about cleaning up around the house or remodeling, but for some reason the motivation is just not there. Watch a lot of TV shows. I think I watched Nosferatu for the 56th time now.
Well, yeah, I've been watching some TV as well. I had the chance to go to Europe for a little bit over a month, and that was fun.
Yeah, did you go
But
back home?
I did go back home, and for the first time, it was a little bit more depressing than I thought it would be. It was still okay. I was able to, to hang out with my family and friends, but it was not like usual. Serbia is usually one of the most fun places that I like going, but and then this time was kind of like
Yeah,
I could have skip it, but
I
it
hear
is
you.
what it is. Hopefully, we're gonna get back to normal in during our lifetime, so we can get back on the road.
I'm hoping at least 22. That
Yeah,
yeah, that's what I'm aiming for.
Guns N' Roses have scheduled some shows like for next year, so hopefully, you know,
Yeah.
hopefully we're gonna be able to
Well,
to get back on the road as well.
then they jinxed it because we all know what that means.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, it is so no new songs during inspired by
Um,
this.
well, actually, I am writing a new Necromantics album.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but I mean the way I work, it's not like I don't I don't I don't know. I'm not the type that like, oh, here's an idea, blah 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 blah. It's like I have to force myself to like, okay, now. But what I have is the whole album, all the bits and pieces in a big mess. Now I just need to like shape them into songs. Um, and my routine or procedure is like I do that. I have like the 16 songs or whatever, and then I'm like, what the hell? Why the two songs sounding almost similar? And then okay, one has to go.
Ah,
Then you start the filtering, and you're probably gonna go down all the way to, oh, I only have 9 songs. What the fuck? And then you have to start work again.
do you see the guys from the band? Do you hang out with them much during this time?
No, I don't. We are trying to social distance. Like we take it to the max. Stay
All
away.
right.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
luckily we have technology today, so we don't really need to smell each other like that. So we can chat each other up all the time. So
we all spend enough time in the vans and tour buses, so
Mhm.
this is this is not that bad.
It's not
All
bad.
right. So first question for you from Carlos: how are you keeping up with the haircut during quarantine?
Well, I'm my own barber, so
So it's easy.
it's not that hard. I mean, I have to admit, I actually, for the first time in my life, let it grow a little bit more than I usually do. Um, People probably saw I posted my little ponytail uh, a month ago on my Facebook, but yeah, that had to go.
Yeah,
Uh,
I haven't seen that. I have to go.
well, I don't think
Make
you
a
missed
note.
anything, but
All right. So, all right. So I'll start with my slap bass questions. So, when was the time that was your first time you got interested in slap bass
um,
and
well,
bass in general? I guess.
well, I think the first time I heard it was obviously when I heard rockabilly. Um, Johnny Burnett, Gene Vincent, uh, Bill Haley, all those guys. That's when I was like really fascinated about the sound. That it wasn't just a bass. It wasn't just a doo-doo-doo. It was like it had that percussion part of it. But I never picked up any instrument until '88 when I kind of had a short stint as a drummer, maybe for 2 months. Um, but I knew I wanted to. I've been going to psychobilly festivals all over Europe for 10 years by then, and I knew I wanted to start a psychobilly band. So I bought a bass and locked me up in my room for a week. Came out and started NEKROMANTIX, and 6 months later we recorded our first album.
Oh, that's cool. So I wanted to ask you. So, what's older, coffin bass or necromantics?
NEKROMANTIX.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because so I started the band and I bought this old 70s Czechoslovakian bass for dirt cheap, painted it all white and splattered some red paint looking like blood, and I had this zombie head on the top. Uh, when I started the band, that was in May '89. I told the other guys like we have a show in 3 months, and I had never played in a band before. I never been singing, never played an instrument in my life before at that point. And I gave my little snare drum to a friend I had. Said like, okay, you're gonna play drums. He's like, oh, I never played drums. No, I don't care. Just do it. And so we had that show 3 months later. Um, and that show's actually on video somewhere. I know a guy who has the whole first NEKROMANTIX show on
Oh,
video.
wow.
That was the only time NEKROMANTIX did not play with a coffin bass, because after that show, I was watching the video and I was like, man, I need something different. It's like, what the fuck can I come up with? And I had this goth friend. He was like collecting child's coffin, and he had one. I said, can I have that one? I want to turn it into a bass. And said, yeah, sure. So I got like an old neck, slapped it on there, and that was the first coffin bass. It was like huge. Um, it wasn't very comfortable playing on, but I mean, it did the job. We did the first album with that one, and we did the second show. That was another 3 months after, and from there on, I just started building them from scratch.
So all necromantics records were always done on the coffin bass, never regular bass.
Nope.
Huh.
I have to admit that every time I'm in a recording situation, it's probably going to happen again. This time, I start with the coffin bass. I'm like, maybe I want to have like a more magnetic tone on this song. I go down to the basement, get the old Roth fiber glass bass with the magnetics on, and I'm like, play the song like, fuck, the coffin bass sounds way better, and it happens every time. I'm the type, I have to try it out, like like a microphone. I know I'm going to use this microphone, but I'm going to try these 20 others first, just to return to the first one. And it's the same with when I record bass.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, we have to experiment in order to have some kind of progress. If we're stuck to something that we're used to, then we're just
Well,
becoming old people.
well, that's the thing. I'm still stuck because I try all that stuff, but I always return to the coffee bass.
Well, you at least tried it.
That's true. The
And lots
only
of people do
time,
not try.
The only time I don't use a coffin bass is, I've done projects with other people like rockabilly or swing, and that's when I have like a regular bass with just a microphone in front of it, because the coffin bass is not really made for acoustic. It doesn't have the F holes. It's made for electric amplified. So eventually in this show, if people are going to be like, "Oh, it doesn't sound blah blah blah," that's because it's just a microphone in front of it, and it's not made for that.
Yeah.
So
So,
I want no shit talk from people.
and what is the? But you do own regular bass or not?
Oh yeah,
Oh, you do. How
Oh
many
yeah.
basses do you own?
Mm-hmm. Well, at the moment I have 3 functional coffin basses. Then I have, well, between me and my wife, we have just way too many, because I have I probably have 5 regular ones.
Oh wow, okay. All
Me,
here in LA?
yeah,
Oh wow, okay.
yeah.
Wow.
The only bass that's not here in LA is coffin bass number 2. It's back in Denmark at my parents' attic.
Huh. And number 1 is with you?
No, 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 no.
Non-existent?
Number one was stolen.
Ah, that's a bummer.
It's a
That
bummer.
one
Well,
should be at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I know. Well, when we did the first album, Hellbound, it was used as a prop outside the record store in Copenhagen.
Uh-huh.
The record store during that release thing moved to a different location, and they failed to use the lock that I had provided. So it's gone. I think it was just in a garbage container somewhere, or somebody.
Ah, okay.
I don't know. I hope somebody have it.
Yeah. That'll be better. um so as far as your the reason like why you started Necromantic, so you were mostly into psychobilly even then. It was not like rockabilly punk combination,
No,
and then so you were into psychobilly before that.
yeah, definitely. 10 years before, always, psychobilly. And one of the
That means so you started in 89, so that means since 79 you were into psychobilly, like just like when the Meteors started and all of that, or
Cramps.
oh wow.
Yeah, all the early what we now call neo rockabilly, Polecats. There was a lot of bands that people don't know of. I mean, they never recorded anything. There was this band called The Records, and they were basically a punk rock band from England playing old 50s songs.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard them all the way back in my youth club, because they toured all the weird little youth clubs of Denmark, and I was like blown away, because I already knew all the songs, but the way they played them was like, that blew my mind. And then of
They were
course
from London, or
they were from London, yeah. And then of course when Psychobilly came with all the early guys, or the upright bass, because I could hear it was rockabilly, but it was not rockabilly. And basically early psychobilly is neo rockabilly, or weird rockabilly that doesn't fit into the traditional. All the traditionals were like, oh, you can't do that, you can't change that, you can't use hairspray, you have to use grease, all these rules. And that's what always fascinated me about psychobilly, was like, there are no rules. I mean, we make the rules. So yeah, it was basically like a haven for everybody, all the subcultures that didn't really fit in, like punk rockers that were maybe not into the whole political thing, but more just like the gung-ho party thing. So we had that, the temple, the psychobilly temple, the clubfoot at the Clarendon in London, where you go in there and you see like a psychobilly band on stage, goth girls and weird people, punks, and that was kind of like my introduction to the psychobilly scene.
So were you going there? Have you moved to England and you were
Oh,
going to the club foot, or you were going just like to see shows?
got just to see shows.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we took it was like across Denmark is like 4 hours to the ferry, and then 17 hours on the ferry to to England.
Wow. Well, I
Yeah,
guess it's worth it, like to see something that creative. I think that that scene, especially club food scene in the mid '80s, that's around '86, I would say, right?
well, I can't remember. I think the last I went to the last club food also, and now I think that was 86, maybe 80.
It lasted for 3 years or so, right?
Yeah, I think so. That time is a blur.
Okay, well, I bet. I mean,
Yeah,
I just know I was like really a kid. So, but I remember seeing all those records, and I thought like, wow, this is the coolest thing ever.
yeah.
So it looked it looked very interesting and something that I immediately got into when I was 10 or so. You mentioned something very interesting that I wanted to ask you about kind of later on, but since you mentioned that, I want to point out that immediately. You said that there was like a traditional rockabilly scene. They were kind of like followed all the rules, and everything was kind of strict. You have to use grease. You cannot use hairspray. You have to have like a clothes from the 50s. You can't do this. Kind of like a creativity kind of was cut almost completely, cut out, and that's something that that part I never liked. Even I and the main thing why I like rockabilly from the 50s, it's because the creativity and then whole craziness and just like doing whatever you want to just to explore. Do you think that nowadays psychobilly kind of became like that it follows the kind of the rules now that somebody made up and then the creativity kind of
Yes,
cut
yes.
down?
Sadly, I mean, not everybody, but sadly, it has become after almost what 40 years now. It has become the exact thing that it was against when it started, and that happens with things. It's the same with rockabilly. When rockabilly started, it was crazy. All the kids went nuts. There was no rules until 20 years later. People made those rules because like, oh, this is how it's supposed to be. But it was all about being crazy and doing,
Whatever you want to.
yes. But then I understand, of course, at a point, everything gets like, um, uh, established, and then people are going like, oh, this is not this is not that. I mean, which brings me to another thing. Like, uh, I don't think I don't I don't think there is a style musical genre called psychobilly. To me, that does not exist because if you listen to the music, it's everything from rockabilly, fast rockabilly to crazy almost metal. And to me, that's all part of psychobilly, which brings me back to psychobilly is a subculture listening to all these Billy related types of music.
I couldn't agree more. That for me, rockabilly is kind of the same thing, and I would always include psychobilly into rockabilly because, you know, I don't think like dividing on such a small niche is like gonna do us any good. I mean, psychobilly became its own thing, but I always saw it as a kind of like a subgenre of rockabilly. And even like with neo rockabilly was so creative and so crazy, in the early '80s, and now people that are into neo rockabilly, they don't follow those rules, which is kind of like, oh, you know, that was kind of rebellion, because those guys wanted to be something different. So I couldn't agree with you more than that. Do you remember how was the psychobilly scene in Denmark in the '60s, in the '80s?
60s. How the fuck old do you think I am? That was, I'm gonna leave right now. Okay, so psychobilly in Denmark was not really. I mean, Denmark is fucking tiny. Back then, 5 million people. I think we're up to 6 million now. So everything is just smaller. Copenhagen, the capital, is like 1 million people, and so everything is just small. The scene was maybe me and two other guys to begin with, and that's why we went to Berlin early 80s. We went to Berlin a lot, and that's how I became friends with Köfte, which brings me to another story. Remind me of that. Um, we went to that was before the wall came down, so you have to go through Eastern Germany and all that. But a, a scene as such in Denmark was pretty much non-existent. When NEKROMANTIX started, the people that came there was maybe a few that had like a quiff or something similar, but it was not really a scene.
And so, as far as the scene in Europe, what would you say that only in England was happening on
No,
that
it
level?
it started in England, definitely, but it moved in the mid '80s. It moved to uh, over the channel and to Holland, Belgium, and especially Germany. It was. I mean, all the big festivals in Belgium. I don't know if you're familiar with those. Um,
Not sure.
okay, well, that was like in the early '80s, and that was the first time I met people from everywhere, like
Ah,
every European country, southern Spain. That was like the first really international. They had those in Belgium. They had a few in Rotterdam. There was a few big festivals, but yeah, everything kind of moved to the mainland from the UK.
yeah, it's like that whole period seems pretty magical for Psychobilly. Since we were talking about Denmark, and I wanted to ask you about your Navy days. So that happened before NEKROMANTIX, right? Right
Yeah.
before NEKROMANTIX?
Yes, before.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you were there for 2 years or so?
8.
8 years.
Mhm.
How was that?
It was different. I remember everybody in school were like moving on to college and blah 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 blah, and I was like, "Fuck, I'm not gonna spend another day reading books." So I joined the Navy, um, and I was in the submarines for 8 years.
Oh, oh, okay. Let me. So I added myself before you. Yeah, I read that somewhere. I wanted to ask you about it. Um, so before NEKROMANTIX, you haven't played in any bands,
Mm-mm.
and once you joined NEKROMANTIX, have you played bass for other people?
Nope.
No. So basically, since you learned to play bass, you immediately built Coffin bass, and before that started NEKROMANTIX, and then after that played exclusively with NEKROMANTIX. You were not, you know, backing up other people, or
No, well, not for many years. I didn't play with anybody else really until some people out there probably have heard of it. Meg and the Packabillys was kind of like a swing jazz kind of ensemble. We had like horn section, and he was like he's like a very famous Danish guy, and that was the first time I actually uh, received a Grammy, because that album was a children's album, and our song was like the title of the album, and that's how that whole series of albums. It's like all the big stars or celebrities in Denmark did a song for this compilation for kids, and
oh,
so
cool. So
I picked him.
so
Yeah,
so that was with which band?
it's called Meg, Peck, and the Peckabillys.
Okay.
Yeah,
uh,
we also did a rockabilly Christmas album, and we did
okay.
we did a whole album where we had like rockabilly versions of old disco songs and stuff like that.
That sounds cool. All right, so I'll look that up. Is that on? It's possible to find, or
Yeah, you probably have to go to the dark web to find them. No, you can find them.
and so you received the Grammy for that. That's what you said.
Yeah.
You as a player or a composer or writer or singer or
As the band, it was behalf of all the artists on that album, but like we were the
okay. So the album
yeah,
received the Grammy.
yes,
Oh, okay. So which category?
best children's songs, best children album. Yeah,
That's
that,
so cool.
yeah, that's a lot of that stuff in Denmark. Denmark loves like kitty albums and books, and so yeah.
So that was your first. Well, have you received and have you won any other Grammys, or that was the?
No, that was the first one that I was a part of winning.
Okay.
So like I think the year before, NEKROMANTIX was nominated for best heavy metal release. We did not get that one, but
But nomination means a lot. I mean, I know that when I received a Grammy nomination for the record for the MTV Unplugged record that I did with Molotov, it kind of like made some differences at that point. Not too much, not
yeah,
now at all. Now it's just a CV.
I guess yeah, I guess it's like a blue stamp for some people. Like you want to see my Grammy looks like this.
All right, yeah.
It's kind of no, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I mean, it means something, it's some kind of recognition. But so as far as Grammys, that was actually like one of the things that I wanted to ask you. So the first one that you won is like for the children album, and the second one you were nominated for the best metal album of the year. Was that thing?
Mhm.
Okay, but in which is it? It was not U.S. Grammy,
No,
or it was
that was Denmark.
Denmark Grammy. Okay, both of those, right?
Yes, both.
Do they have a Grammy still in Denmark?
No, they do not. They
Ah,
they
okay.
they changed it because of something not using the same name or affiliation, something. I don't know.
Ah, okay. So it's now it's called something else.
Now it's not cool anymore.
All right. Well, you got it while it was cool. So
You know how it is. Everything from back then was always cooler. That's what people says. No, I'm kidding.
um, is there? How do you? Are you? Immediately, are you able to tell me like how many different lineups Necromantic said?
No, that's what Wikipedia is for. I mean a lot, I guess.
I mean, for 30 years, right? Like, so it's not
Yeah.
probably not that bad. 31 years.
No, I mean it was either that or stop the band. So
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I had
yeah,
bands that that I played with, for much shorter periods of time, and then, you got to do what you got to do if you want to continue playing.
yeah.
Um, is there any lineup that you wanna that you think was the most successful or the most legendary or the people
No,
love the most or whatever?
I think that would be the same as asking me if there's a particular album. I mean, it's all part of the band's history now, and there were good things and bad things about every. You know how all relationships are. So, um, no, I can't say there was any lineup I like better than others. Because there's so much to it. When
Absolutely.
you're touring with people, it's there's a lot of stuff people don't see. Like they only see what's on stage, but it's also about the chemistry in the band, and are these people somebody you want to hang out with, or are you trying to
Right.
like hide away? And so it's so much deeper than that. People can say like, oh, I like this guitarist way more than this one, and I'm like, okay, so which one is your favorite song? Or this one? well, you do realize that's a third guitarist. Oh, really? Yeah. So, I mean,
Absolutely. I agree. But one thing I wanted to ask you as far as different lineup changes, and then I noticed we have like quite a few questions, and I'll get onto that.
what? I don't see
Um,
any questions.
the questions are on the side. I mean, for me, they're in front. So
No, well,
I'm not sure
I
how it
have a
looks.
filter. I use the same as on Facebook. Stuff I don't like to see is just not there. So all good.
um, as far as creative input, uh, like as far as songwriting goes,
Mhm.
was every lineup was kind of the same, like as far as that goes, or it was
No, no, every lineup has been different, but all in good ways, you know. Um, I mean, I like to play with when I get a new guy in the band, like a new drummer or a new guitarist. I'm like, okay, obviously this is established band. When we play the old songs, I kind of want to have people be able to recognize those songs. So please be true to them, you know, and then people can add their little stuff. You know how it is, like,
absolutely.
um, and they all been good at that. But I say I surround me with skilled people, so I feel inspired by all of them. You know, it's not like I'm. I know there's some bands that are like, okay, this is how it's supposed to be, and blah 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 blah. I try to. I wouldn't say coach, but I think I'm good at getting the best out of whatever these people are capable of, and that's. I think that's what it's all about. Like, get the best out of it. You know.
I agree with that approach. I think it's the best if you when you have new people, then they have to learn those songs the way they are, and then if they have some kind of creative input, you don't limit them. You just let them do their thing because they can just add something to the songs
Yeah,
if they
exactly.
like it. So
And because it's a constant, you know, you evolve constantly as a musician, as a band. I mean, I know people always prefer the stuff they first heard when they were introduced to the band. So to them, oh, it's this lineup that's the best. And then you have a guy 10 years later, like, no, no, it's this lineup that was the best. And you know, and it's fine. I can only sit back and smile because, well, it's all part of me still. So I mean, I can only be flattered. And
absolutely. Let me get into these. I would like you to play something, but let me see what's as far as what do we have as comments, and thanks to all of you guys. Like thanks for writing.
yeah, I see. I recognize a lot of names. There's that guy. He needs to be banned. Yeah, Ruben. He needs to be banned. He's yeah.
How about Vivi? Kim is a great boss. I miss touring with Necro and Patricia. Uh,
I'm not sure.
that's Kelly.
I've never heard of her.
Okay. Um,
What was the question again?
there she is again. Med Twins are saying that Kim is such a fun guy.
No, I'm very serious. Why do
And
they always say that? I'm very serious.
well, I see you are.
Yes.
Uh, where
I'm
Ruben is
not-
asking you, how are the dogs taking the ash?
Goodbye, Ruben. Oh, how are the dogs taking the ash? I don't. We try to keep them indoors because here in LA, as you probably know, it's really bad. It's like when you step outside, it's like it looks like snow, all the ashes. So we keep them on the couch and crank up the AC and hope we don't um, hope that electricity doesn't go out again.
Yeah. That happened last week, right?
It did, yeah.
Oh, for how long?
It was 3 hours. I almost died. It was horrible.
I
Like
bet.
everything. Imagine everything goes well. First it was half, so everything was dimmed. It was in the middle of I can't remember what show I was watching. Probably some sucky show, and I was crying. It's like it was my freedoms was taken away. I felt it right there, but then luckily it came back three hours later.
Well, yeah. I remember how it was without power during bombing in the 90s, but this show is not about that.
No.
So let's keep it going with the comments. Hey, Kim, thanks for bringing the HorrorPops back around at the beginning of the year. That was the only good part of 2020.
You are very welcome, and you should thank Patricia and Henrik too. But thank you very much, and you're
Well,
welcome.
if they're watching, thank you, Patricia and Henrik.
I don't know. Henrik is probably sleeping, and Patricia is probably spying on this one while she watched some crazy show.
Do you have a Pepsi and Sex on the Beach in your hands?
I do not.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you a thing. I have not had a Pepsi for 3 months. I went totally cold turkey.
Oh wow! All right. How about Sex on the Beach?
Well, that's a drink too. I haven't had that since the HorrorPops tour.
Ah, okay. Wow. That's a good way to handle the pandemic. I'm going to be asking you about strings and all of that later on when we talk about your gear. But there's a question. Do you still play ADGB string tuned as EADG to have more easy strings to play?
Yes, that would be what they call a bumped over set.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. John says, what's the trick to learning bass in only 1 week?
I don't know, but I did it. I think I was very motivated, and that brings me back to okay. So in the 80s, I go to Berlin all the time, hang out with Köfte from Mad Sin. This is before Mad Sin and before NEKROMANTIX, and we went on the whole tour. When Crewman played Europe, we went to all the shows. Demented Ago, we went to all the shows, and this was after the Demented Ago tour. We got super good friends with Demented Ago back then, and we came back to Berlin. This is 88. We came back to Berlin, and Köfte tells me, like, hey, I need to do this TV show. I'm like, what are you talking about? I didn't even know. He didn't tell me that he actually had a band. He started like maybe 4 months earlier. And we went to this weird little studio, and there's Köfte banging the drums, and I'm like, fuck it, that's it. I'm going to start my fucking own band. And I went straight home and started NEKROMANTIX. So what I did was I just locked myself up in my room. I know, I'm probably going to see if I can show that. So I took my bass. I took my bass and I put like a pillow like in between here, so I didn't bother my roommate. And then I just like practice and I didn't really care about this hand up here. I was like so determined on learning like all that stuff, and I guess I was just determined. And I immediately started a band because I knew that the best way to learn was to, play with other people.
Absolutely. Another guy who told me the similar story is Marshall Lytle from Bill Haley's band. He told me that Bill Haley showed him a few licks like in the afternoon, and he had a show at night. So that was the thing. And then, a couple of years later, he recorded some of the most legendary, slap bass lines that were ever
I think it's the same principle as when they take very small toddlers or babies and just throw them in the swimming pool and they.
You got to do it.
Yeah,
you got to do it to survive. From Carlos, will there ever be a reunion show with Peter Sandorf?
I don't think so. He lives in Denmark. I live here. So
no. For now.
I guess no.
You played from Garbalicious. You played the Brainiacs bass live in San Antonio last year, and not played coffin bass.
That's a lie.
It's a lie. All right.
Oh, that's true. My bass kind of had a malfunction, and I had to improvise.
So you
Yeah,
played regular bass with with Necromantics on that show?
yeah, for one song,
Oh wow, okay.
2 songs. Yeah,
You see, if it's on internet, everything is on internet.
I know.
I remember you from Uchiha Omadara. I remember you sold our former coffin bass during late 90s, early 2000s. Are you thinking about selling another one?
No, yeah, I did not sell that first one. I did have it as an auction in those days, but I never actually sold it.
Mm.
So I could have another auction, but I'm probably not going to sell it.
Well, if no touring life, continues for another couple of years, who
Yeah,
knows what we all going to be doing? Is the coffin base standard scale length 43? What
no,
do you
it's
know the scale length?
mm, no, but it's a bit shorter.
Okay.
Um, when I make them, I make what feels comfortable.
Okay.
Yeah, I have like specific like the size of the body and the exact point where the neck is, and it kind of just creates itself, and it's a little shorter. I think maybe this much shorter than a regular one. So I guess 40, 41.
Same thing. Same questions from Ellie as well. Ellie Hatch. What strings do you use, and do you use bump set?
I use bump set and I use rotor sounds
And you've been
because
using rotor sounds for quite a long time, right?
they're like the bestest ever. Yeah, yeah. I've used it. My first bass had gut strings on.
Oh wow, okay.
So that was, and actually I used gut strings on the first coffin bass too. I sort of like them, but I hate the maintenance because it just sucks. And that was the first. That's how I came up with the bumped thing, because nobody bumped strings back then.
Hmm.
Uh, I was like, because Necromantics is somewhat different. I play a lot of fast pumping, and I was like, I need a little lower tension, but without sacrificing the tone. And I mean, luckily, you can do a lot of magic with when you use pickups, and there's a lot of stuff you can do to modify a bass to make it sound completely different from what people think. Um, because you could go to a luthier and he'll set it up for as he knows. Like if he doesn't slap, he has no clue. And even though you slap, there's like 10 different preferences as to
Absolutely, yeah.
action. So there's no one setup working for all strings or all players, and not everybody is interested in changing their technique. They're like, oh no, this is how my bass is, so I use this technique. But I say, like, if you do like this, you change your technique a little bit, and it will become. But people are very, and that's fine too. I mean, I don't. That's their thing.
Yeah, everybody has its own thing. I mean, I've been playing steel strings for 30 years or so,
Mm-hmm.
and high action, high tension, and sometimes I would like to have like a lower tension, but then I would have to sacrifice something that's more important for me. So then,
Yeah.
and it is what it is. Until I make my own strings.
Uh,
um,
yeah. Somebody told me that the bass was farting when I played it. I don't know if the microphone is.
oh, okay. So we'll look at it. It might, maybe we can try that.
Yeah,
When you
I think
hear that, or
I probably I might take a little break at a time at a point, and then
fix it.
go dig up my spare mic. My spare,
Okay.
but
Well, you're an expert about in fixing and all that. We can do that before you start playing.
yeah,
A question from Tyler Shiny or Shinny: is there such a thing as having too many bases?
I don't think so.
uh,
Of course,
well,
space or room is your limit, but I mean, yeah, I guess you can have too many because I have both too many basses. I have too many guitars. Some of them I haven't even seen in years. They're just tucked up in a darkness down there below. So I guess you pay that's what have too many.
From James Doken, was your show in Hollywood's Troubadour with Tiger Army really your first American gig?
No, that tour we had actually played the big New York Rumble first,
Mm.
which was our very first American show. We flew in, played the New York Rumble, which was not in New York but New Brunswick, which is a little bit outside.
Mhm.
Then we flew to San Jose and played on Halloween of was it 99 or was it 2000? I think it was 99, right? And then we played San Jose. We drove up to Portland, played Vancouver, Canada, came down and supported Tiger Army at the Troubadour.
Oh, well, you remember the whole itinerary.
Yeah, because I was the driver. I'm always the driver, so.
Okay. Oh, you still drive the bus when you do? Wow.
Yeah.
How do you like doing that?
It's very easy. There's a steering wheel, and you turn it, and then you step on the pedals. No, I'm kidding.
You'll have to show me that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Carolyn D asked something. I think that she asked about
How
coffin
much
base.
would that
Somebody
cost?
wants
Oh,
coffin base from you. How much would that cost?
base. I don't know because I don't make them to sell, so probably expensive.
Med Twins asked, like, Kim, we want to buy your book about the time period and around Clubfoot and all
I'm
that.
not gonna write a book. I wanted to at a point, but it's just, I mean, history is constant, and then I think about it, and then I see other people write about, their stuff, and I'm like, oh, that's exciting. Mine is not half as exciting, and then I just.
Yeah, well, you're still making things happen, so that's
Yeah,
way more important.
I think somebody else should write the stories of everybody
Yeah.
in one book. That would be awesome.
Professional writers to write about professional musicians.
Yeah.
What's the name of the first psychobilly song you ever wrote?
Detention. It was an instrumental, and it was called. Actually, I wrote it when I was a drummer in those 2 months. The first NEKROMANTIX song was Hellbound and Brain Error. That was my first songs ever.
Then from Jack, Kim, was Strangy an influence for you to start playing double bass? And he is one of the reasons why he started.
No, he was not. Let me see. Yeah, I did see the Klingons at, I don't know if it was the last Clubfoot or the Clubfoot before. I remember they messed up what they call the underground train thing. There was like a party, but he was not the reason for me starting to play bass.
But was there, as far as bass influences back in those days, are there any names that you can mention? Or?
Not particularly his style, but definitely Graham Grant from The Minute Ago was my inspiration to pick up the bass. Because we became good friends when me and Krifter was, hanging out with them when they did that tour, and I was just, stoked about. I mean, when The Minute Ago wrote, what's that album called? The one with Shadow Crypt. When they wrote Kicked Out of Hell, when they wrote that album, I was hanging out with them in London in their squat. They all lived in this squat. There was no electricity, and it was like a dump. And they practiced, the new songs, and I was actually part of that process. I mean, I didn't write anything, but I was like drumming on this little bucket in the darkness, and Mark Phillips was trying to find his contact lenses that he had put in an old teacup that somebody pissed in or something. It was just like the usual cares. And after that, they had a show up in Manchester. First, I had one at the Clubfoot, but then Mark cut his hand and he disappeared, and nobody could find him. So the band has to go to Manchester without, their front guy, and just go on stage and ask people, anybody know any Dementor Go songs? And then people from the audience just came up and sang,
Wow.
yeah. So yeah, like as far as inspiration, that'll be Graham. Yeah.
No guys from the 50s?
No, not really. I mean, they're all good. I mean, they all did, but I can't. I mean, I'm not really good with names. When I've seen your other episodes, people are like, oh, then this guy and this guy. I'm sitting like, who? And I have to like Google. Oh, yeah, I know him. So I know the guys, but I don't know their names.
Okay. And as far as any influences outside of rockabilly and psychobilly genres that on bass?
Not really on bass. I just like, different types of music. I like to bring in inspiration from other genres. When I really nerd out or geek out, I listen to like old jazz or 70s jazz, because some of those guys, Niels Henrik Ørsted Pedersen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love the guy. Yeah.
I mean, he was, he's from Denmark too. And I mean, I might not be a super fan of whatever song they're playing, but the way he's like a master,
He was really special. He kind of changed, by my opinion, changed that that old school of approach, which old school is usually my favorite, but he was very kind of musical and faster, and he was able to play all those kind of like saxophone solos and like in a fast tempo on upright bass.
Yeah, he
really amazing.
He just did crazy stuff. And I mean, in the 60s and 70s, a lot of American jazz players moved to Denmark because there was a huge scene.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like, and he came out of all that because he was smack in the middle of that, seeing all these legendary, jazz bassists. And so it sounds like he took the very best from them and added his own white boy. Yeah, because
he's playing still, it's still amazing. I mean, and he had the speed and the tone and melodies. He was able to do all of that. And before we move on, like, I would like to hear you saying that name again, because I would always say Niels Ørsted Pedersen.
Yeah, well, his name is Nils.
Okay.
So, and his middle name is Ørsted.
Okay.
You have the O with the thing.
I know, but I'm not able to do it. Okay.
So Niels Henrik Ørsted Pedersen.
All right.
Yeah.
But at least how it's supposed to sound.
English people use the short one, the acronym for him too, like NUP.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I'm familiar with that. I would like you to play something now. Like, do you need that break, like, to fix that, or you're good for now?
Actually, I hear like the microphone is.
I hear some kind of farting.
Yeah. So if you give me 3 minutes.
All right, we'll do that. You have 3 minutes.
Can you put on like a crazy video or?
I'll just answer questions, like entertain people for a couple minutes.
All right. See you.
All right. All right. Thanks a lot for all these questions. I would like to mention that this is the Slapstream with Djordje, live from Slapsville, and I'm doing this every Saturday. If you're new and you wanted to check some of the old episodes, they're all under the playlist Slapstream on my channel, and you should subscribe to my channel. So that should be somewhere around here, the button for subscribe. It would mean a lot for me. And I had the chance to interview so many amazing bass players that I love, and I think that you're gonna enjoy if you haven't seen him. I interviewed Scott Owen from The Living End. I interviewed Kevin Smith from High Noon and Willie Nelson's band, and Dwight Yoakam's band, Brian Setzer Orchestra. Amazing player. I featured him on the first episode. Then I interviewed Jimmy Sutton, the bass player for JD McPherson and Four Charms and Mighty Blue Kings as well. Um, who else is in there? Like you should go, browse my channel a little bit and see who I have over there. All top notch names, and I promise that I'm gonna bring more top names to the show soon. I'm booked for another 2 months, so it's very exciting. And I'm really excited about all the people that I have for September and October. And if you're new here, you probably don't know, but I'm trying to mix it up. I don't want to do just rockabilly or just psychobilly. I have some bluegrass guys, some experimental guys. I had Martin Masakovsky, who is basically jazz and world music guy from New Orleans, who did some very experimental stuff and even some Indian influenced. Really cool, very talented guy. I had like Nicolas Duboucher, who is an expert for old school jazz and swing, rockabilly as well. Then Ryan Gould, he was the second episode, who is one of the best for old school jazz stuff that both me and Kim talked about, and quite a few other guys. And so you should binge watch that playlist. If you're not on the Art of Slap Bass newsletter, please sign up. Send an email at contact@artofslapbass.com, and you will be receiving emails usually every Saturday, um, and with the link to watch the new show. I put lots of effort into it. This is, Slap Bass been pretty much my life, so I wanna give it back. Um, if you'd like to support Art of Slap Bass and me, please check out the Patreon link that is down below. And if you want to donate, you can also do that via PayPal or Venmo, which links are also down below. And follow Art of Slap Bass, all the links below. Follow Kim, his Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, also below in the description of the video. My links as well. So I see Kim over there. He seems to be almost ready. He's bringing the coffin bass spare. So you're going to be able to hear two different coffin basses today. And please, if you would like me to feature somebody, if you'd like me to feature some bass player, please write down in the comments below the video, not in the live chat, because live chat is a little bit harder to follow later on. But later on, I can easily follow, check out your comments under the video. And that's one of the reasons why I chose to feature some of the guys that I did feature. And because I want you to be happy as much as I am. Well, you cannot be happy as much as I am, because this is kind of like my dream job, interviewing and learning from all these bass players and making my audience aware about their existence. So let's see. All right, Kim is in the final stage. He's setting up the pickup. Kim, once you're completely ready, give me a thumbs up so I can introduce you again. And let me see about these questions. So Ellie said, I was stationed in Germany in 91 and then was introduced to Batmobile and was hooked ever since. I was already listening to West Coast punk at that time. Good stuff. Yes, we all love Batmobile. I hope to feature those guys here as well. And who else we have? Don't forget Finland. No rockabillys or psychobillies will ever forget Finland. Finland is one of the most important and one of the most important countries for this scene. I played Finland with the Tiger Army, I believe 3 years ago, and that was probably the fastest sold out show we had on that tour. It was gone in all the tickets were gone in 2 hours or something. So thank you, Finland, for that. And because of that particular reason, Finland will always be one of my favorite places to play. And I even played Finland before with my old band, Romani, which is Gypsy style band, Fish Tank Ensemble. Mad Twins asked Kim, how did he become so smart without reading books? I think he's ready. Ready?
I'm ready.
Are you alive?
Yeah.
I didn't want to feature you, but it was pretty entertaining going back and forth trying to fix everything and all of that.
That's my life in a nutshell. Okay, so I found a random mic. Patricia's gonna get mad at me because I found a suitcase with HorrorPops tour stuff in it. So now I'm probably messed up HorrorPops tour microphones, and she's gonna be like, "Bah, you can't do that." So let me just try to see how it sounds.
Sure, let's do that.
So it's the same bass, but it's a different microphone.
Okay.
So do you hear it?
I do hear it, but can it possible to hear it louder?
Ugh. I cranked it. Oh man. Maybe if I go a little closer to this mic.
That's better.
Is that better?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. That has to do. So
I think it's good. I think it's good. I hear you fine, so I'm sure that everybody can hear you fine. So what you gonna play?
I don't know. Do you want me to play something in particular or something like
I have a few things that I wanted to ask you to play, but the first one, let that be your choice.
Okay, so I mean, I can show my I mean, that's kind of a signature when I do the thumb pinky thing. Yeah, I'm not going to be too complicated with these ones up here because everybody knows how to play bass, and we're concentrating on slap, so yeah. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, I love that technique. I never played it, and then I will ask you about it later on. When we did the sound check, you had an idea like to play gargoyles. I'm sure that our audience would like to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, it's always weird. I saw some of the other guys like Jimmy Sutton too, like, holy shit, I need my band, and I can totally relate because like, yeah, I know exactly how to play this song when my band is playing. So it's weird, and I mean, I see the comments, but I think people should use more of those emojis like clapping hands, so it kind of feels like I'm actually.
You know what? I'll do this. I'll do that.
And I want to see people do it too. I'm not playing until I see at least 5 people with clapping hands emojis. Thumbs up. Yeah, that's. I guess that's not happening, huh? There we go, Kurt. San Diego. There we go. Now I'm getting pumped.
All right.
Yes. Woo.
Feels like a playing on a stadium.
All right. So let's try gargoyles. Swedish claps. Fy fan, det är bra. Okay. So hey, 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 hey. Okay, wait for it. Leaving town, just wanna get away from the politics and stupid rules that the eternal love war. Life in Bodom is so high, price to pay. Well, I'm headed in a new direction, just away from before. That's when the sky turned your back. Eyes are watching from above, and it ain't bad whether it's a gargoyle attack gargoyles. Yeah, 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 gargoyles. I can't fucking hear you. Yeah, gargoyles. Yeah, 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 gargoyles over Copenhagen. Gargoyles. Yeah, 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 gargoyles. Yeah, 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 gargoyles. Yeah, 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 gargoyles over Copenhagen. Yeah. Woo! Get down. Trying to escape, I'm on the run from these hells and creatures. They're all over me. Please help me, someone die. 911. But the invention has begun. This is the end of humanity. Those years I've been waiting hasn't been in vain. But they are leaving their observation book for the final takeover. They were welcoming gargoyles. Yeah, 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 gargoyles. I can't hear you. Yeah, yeah, gargoyles. Yeah, 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 gargoyles over Copenhagen. Gargoyles. Yeah, 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 gargoyles. Yeah, 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 gargoyles. Yeah, 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 gargoyles over. Wow! Gargoyles, yeah, 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 gargoyles, yeah, 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 gargoyles, yeah, 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 gargoyles over Copenhagen, gargoyles, yeah, 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 gargoyles, yeah, 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 gargoyles, yeah, 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 gargoyles over Copenhagen. Woo! Oh yeah. Gargoyles. Woo.
All right. So, what do you guys think? How was this your favorite version of the gargoyles you ever heard? If he ever does that again, you heard it for the first time on the Slapstream.
He's probably not going to do that again.
All that without the AC.
Oh, without AC, that's true.
Without the AC. Well, thanks for doing that. How did you develop your way of playing that whole thumb and pinky thing?
I don't know. It just kind of happened. I mean, especially in the earlier days, I was messing around a lot. I think I always thought of the slapping as a snare drum.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do on a snare drum? You know, or I hear like, you know, okay, oh, I can do that on my bass. Or the drummer is like, in rehearsal rooms, they're doing like some weird stuff, like, you know how drummers are. They always know all that cool stuff, and I'm like, oh, I can do that. And then I kind of imitate that, and then I eventually just like, oh, this is awesome. I just do like this, and I see other people struggle, like, but I'm like, oh, this is nice, you know.
That's cool. I will ask you later on, like to show me that and to show our audience how to do that. So you were basically trying to copy the sounds you were getting from drums. You were not trying to figure out licks that you heard or seen other bass players doing.
No, um, no, it was all about, like, okay, like I said, I've always been very fascinated about the percussionist side of the bass more than the actual notes. I mean, sure, in earlier days, I played way more just like root notes, like boom, 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 boom. Like this song was kind of like straight on rock song, but it goes tuka tuka tuka. Then you can add all the weird, funny stuff. Um, but a lot of times, it fits in the music if you don't play too many weird, but kind of concentrate on the actual beat or the rhythm, and do that together with the drummer, play up against them. So I always seen it as I always loved when you see Prince and what's her name, cool, fuck, the percussionist for Prince,
Okay.
uh Sheila E. Sheila E.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
like, and you see those South American styles where you have that percussionist out there, the drummer does his thing, and they just like fill in like wherever it's like they sneak up, like, okay, here I go, like,
Okay.
and I kind of like that approach, like, because it's the same way when I play music. I'm like, doom doom doom, and then the drummer, you know.
Do you have to, like when you're doing that stuff for the recording, do you have to make a particular arrangement to be to stick to it so that you and the drummer don't overlap?
No, what I do is drums. Everybody records in layers these days, so the drums are always the first ones to go down. And I'm like, do whatever you want to do some crazy stuff. Usually I tell my drummers, like, after the first take, like, okay, this sounds perfect, but it's not alive. I want weird stuff. And then after they've done that, I put my stuff in.
So the whole process of the recording is you give them freedom to do the way they want it, and then you build your bases on top of it. So you don't like tour those songs and then kind of like nail them down and then go on a tour in the studio.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, because
I think that everybody has a different approach.
Yeah, I mean, some songs are like that. Other songs, I'm like, okay, there's always open for new ideas in a song. Because when you hear it recorded, you hear, all the things that are hidden in the rehearsal room. All of a sudden, you hear them.
Yes.
And I love that fact, because I'm like, okay, there I can really do some stuff. Or there, that was a little too much. I need to simmer down there. Or the same thing with the guitar. Like, I see the guitar in the same way, because you have that typical rockabilly style, and I'm imagining them at the Sun Studio, not with a skateboard, but like a little roller. Like, okay, guitar amp closer, guitar amp away. So you kind of fill in all the time. That's like the pictures I have in my head when I create music.
Yes. Yeah. Those pictures are really important. Now, when you mentioned that, I remember Paul Roman saying that when he got into psychobilly, like when he was a kid in US,
he's still a kid
in Buffalo, and then he heard that music. He thought that people were like completely crazy on stage, and then moved to Europe. It was like, oh, it's not like that. Something in that vein. Did they imagine like the craziest show? So they tried to have their show like be the craziest
which
as
which
far
which
as
is which is interesting because Quakes was one of the earlier psychobilly bands that I was really blown away by because it was one of those Belgium festivals. I think it was the second one, so probably 85, mm, around there. I'm not sure what year, but it was the first time. It was like Quakes' first European appearance, and I was just like, here we have these guys. They look so different from everybody else because we all had like totally shaved, and the Quiff and Quakes, they showed up with like long hair in the sides and they had cowboy boots outside their jeans, and we're like, that's so weird. But I mean, I didn't mind it, but that was different. I could tell like these guys are not from around here,
yeah.
that's here. But I was like, but yeah, it was obvious that they just went crazy and it worked on me. This was before I played in a band too. I was like, fuck, I love this. This is crazy.
I always loved the Quakes, and the one of the main things that I really still respect about the Quakes is the songwriting. They always had the songs and catchy songs.
Yeah. I
Worked
mean,
for
who doesn't love the Quakes? I mean, the first one was a little bit noisy, but I liked the punky. It was like a state of mind they were in. And then the second one, I heard that one, I was like, "Fuck, this is like good Stray Cat, like better Stray Cats." Like
Yeah,
it was way more rockabilly, and it was like obviously the first one was to, I don't know, to impress the Europeans, or it was just a phase in their life. But I'm like, this is like two different bands, but it's still the same band, and I still love it.
yeah, I loved it. Like especially their like. I mean, I love the second album. It's like I think the one that's closer to the Cats, I kind of prefer over the one that it's closer to the psychobilly
Yeah,
European psychobilly approach.
I like both, and it doesn't hurt that Paul and the guys are cool dudes. I like
Yeah,
all the lineups I always got along with, and always been great guys. And
they
I mean, it's
truly
not their
are.
fault. It's not their fault. They live in Arizona now. I mean, but
I'm not sure if they're watching or not, but I'll, I'll text this section to Paul. um, so I want to like move a little bit like from the base and ask you about the HorrorPops. When did you start that band? So the kazoo is HorrorPops influence.
yeah, that's just better. Hang on, wait. Okay, we're ready. Okay, ask away.
The HorrorPops. When did you start that band?
Um, well, me, Patricia, and I, we both our bands played uh, in Cologne, Germany. There was this like musical convention thing
Hmm.
where all the countries are like sending their representatives, and she didn't know about Necromantics. I didn't know about her band, and that's kind of how we got to know each other. And I was like, it could be really cool to make a band with her, because I liked her voice. And I was like, it could be really cool to make a band. And we talked about it, and well, long story short, she thought it was a good idea too, and we switched instruments. She used to play guitar, and obviously I played the bass, so we swapped around in order to kind of like approach music writing and composing in a different way. And when was that? 96, maybe? Yeah, 96.
So did she play bass before that show, or did she just
No,
did you play did
she
you
played
play
guitar.
guitar before that show?
She played guitar. Yeah, I didn't play guitar never before.
So at that show, I mean, once you met, you just switched instrument at that same
No,
night.
no, 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 no. That was after we
Ah,
played.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
so there
we
was
played
conscious decision.
bands. Yeah,
Ah, okay, okay.
I mean, I'm not that good. Okay.
So you were not playing guitar at all before that. She was not playing bass at all before that, and then you just, hey, let's make a band.
let's make a band, and we did like this little demo, and everybody kind of liked it, and we started getting shows, and of course we got Henrik as drummer. First we tried others out, but it didn't really pan out.
Mhm.
In fact, Peter Sandoff auditioned for drummer in HorrorPops at a point too. It did not. He's way better on guitar than drums. That's for sure. Yeah. Then the rest is history. Well, we moved to the U.S. when NEKROMANTIX got signed to HeadCat, and some years later, I asked the label if they were interested in releasing the HorrorPops, and Tim Armstrong took a listen, and I guess they liked it.
And so the label, the HeadCat, they released the first HorrorPops record.
We had recorded that one already back home with a friend, and
Okay.
but they released the first one, the second one, and the third one.
Oh, so all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Is
Yeah.
there a new record in the works?
I don't know, because we had big comeback plans earlier this year, and well, yeah, we all know that kind of changed a little bit. Luckily we got to do that tour in January, February, but we had plans to do more touring, and then eventually maybe some recordings. Who knows?
Well, this time is at least, we all have time to, to write if we cannot store, but it's not very inspiring times.
Well, that's the thing. Excuse me. You need to be inspired too. And
Yeah,
sometimes, I know all about when I was in the Navy. Sometimes, for weeks you do nothing. You just sit and stare out in the air. Like you sleep for 4 hours, you wake up, you have to be there, but you can't do anything. Maybe you're on the bottom of the Baltic Sea and try to be quiet so the Russians or the Soviets don't hear you. And I know if you get into a different state of mind, it's not like you sit there and so all of a sudden you get all creative or poetic, So again, we're all different, but I don't really feel inspired right now. I'm not going to write an album about coronavirus. I think people had it up to here by now, so that'll be the last thing.
well, you already wrote 16 songs, so hopefully there's an album for,
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. I write the music first, and I start recording the music, and I wait until the very, very last minute to push myself to write those lyrics because, to be honest, I hate it. I have to force myself.
Ah.
Yeah, I'm the type I have to okay, here's the deadline. Fuck, and then I have to force myself to do it, and that's the only way I can work when it comes to writing lyrics.
Interesting. And when you record, do you record in Los Angeles?
Yeah.
Do you know where you're going to record NEKROMANTIX?
Probably in Hell.
All right, that's a good place.
Well, in Hell, if you look at NEKROMANTIX album, you see a lot of times it's recorded in some studio, and maybe vocals, something else is recorded in Hell. So in Hell is wherever I put my studio.
Okay. All right.
So I'm thinking the next album is probably going to be all recorded here at my house.
Oh, okay. So you have like a little studio in your place?
Oh yeah.
Oh, cool. Nice. Well, that's usually brings some creativity.
Yeah.
Since we were talking about HorrorPops as well, how would you compare importance of slap bass in these two bands?
Well, if you ask, NEKROMANTIX, I make the rules in NEKROMANTIX, and my rule is slap bass is very important in NEKROMANTIX. It's very driven by the slap, and I'm king in that band. I'm boss. Nobody can argue about that. Now, then we have the other band, which is a democracy. A fucking democracy. So I'm the Psychobilly in HorrorPops, and Henrik and Patricia, like the indie rockers, the punks that, oh, we don't get that fucking psychobilly. Why does everything have to be slap? I want slap. So I'm like little baby, like I want slap. Um, to me, any music genre could have slap bass. Anything. I mean, when I hear something like a really cool song, I'm like, fuck, it would be amazing if they had slap bass. I hear AC/DC, I go, well, fuck, this would have been fucking over the top had it been like the highway to hell. You know, that's how I hear all music. I could put slap on anything.
I agree with you. As long as it's not slap on electric bass.
Well, no. That's oof, oof. That's blasphemy. No, it's a different thing. I mean, okay, I can hear. I like some '60s music where it's kind of cool, or some syrup where it's kind of cool. But nah, I could put fucking slap bass on that. It would be fucking amazing, you know. That's just how I think. So in the HorrorPops, the two of us like, well, we don't have to have slap. I mean, when we recorded the last album, Bring It On, there was like this intro. No, it wasn't Bring It On. It was Kiss Kiss Kill Kill. There was this intro, and I don't know where I went outside the studio, and Henrik and Patricia was in there. I came back and listened to the song, and the intro was like, what the fuck is that? And they're just sitting there like, so they, without asking me or telling me, had put like a bass guitar intro on it. I was like, this is horrible. How can you do that? I got really hurt and mad, and they reinstated the original slap bass intro.
So what ended up on a record?
I Got My Ways.
Ah, okay. So slap won.
Mm-hmm.
Since we're talking about slap and our love for that, particular technique and the approach to our instrument, what would you say is the importance of slap bass in psychobilly as a genre?
Well, I have to refer back to, I don't consider psychobilly as a musical genre, but
Rockabilly, whatever. So
yeah, to me it's a drive, and if it's not there, it sounds okay. But I always imagine like had it been there, it would have been killer. So to me, it's a real drive in the music. I mean, I know some people like, oh, those psychobillies, they just love a lot of yeah, just like metal guys love it on their kick drums. It's that it gives that, it's a sound and it's a drive. I can do with little less sometimes too. I mean, okay, yeah, I admit I do like a lot of slap. I mean, of course, it shouldn't take over. I mean, it shouldn't just be slap, but then again, sometimes people play crappy with their left hand, so I'd rather just have the.
Me too, but it's would still be a psychobilly without slap bass or not?
Yeah, but I mean, that's a deeper discussion, because what is psychobilly music? To me, psychobilly is a subculture that a bunch of people listen to various types of music. So no, that it doesn't have to be slap in psychobilly, but it sure as hell make it fucking better. That's my opinion. And today, in 2020, it's all about opinions. You cannot change that.
All right, I want to learn something now. So, guys, like, grab your bases if you have some. If you don't, then order one quickly. Just not on Amazon.
You can use one of these too.
Yeah. All right. So whoever doesn't have the bass can use the kazoo. And we were talking about your sound check routine.
Yeah.
And I would like to get into that groove a little bit.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, everybody always have like a. Everybody always have like a a thing they do at sound checks. And are you ready with that rockabilly bass?
I'm I'm say, trying to figure out if I am or not. So I have to be. Oh, okay. I have to go like this. Something like that.
Did you do your warm-ups and stretches?
I never do that. I'm the worst for that stuff. I often, sleep until 5 minutes before the show.
Well,
And then
I don't sleep until the show, but I don't really do warm-ups either. I mean, I try to like, because I see the other guys and I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to do something right now. And I'm like, fuck it.
uh,
I usually tuning up my bass is warm-up for me. So
I think it's smart thing to do it, but I just don't. And if I have to recommend somebody like what they should do, they should warm up, they should do stretches, but I never did and I never had problems. So, which doesn't mean that I'm not going to have problems
that's
eventually.
true.
But so far so good. And I don't know, maybe one day I add stretches, but as I said, like, I often sleep. I don't really hang out before the show, and then I just like that one.
Was that I saw Kevin Smith? He was doing he had a crazy routine.
Oh, yeah, he's like
He was like dancing around and doing all kinds of. I was very impressed by that.
Smith actually just commented. Let me see if I can find his comments. All these great comments are coming.
There's a lot of comments. I can't even keep up.
Kevin Smith wrote epic for your version of the gargoyles.
Thank you very much. You know what? I see. There's a French guy there, Thomas Leroy.
Yeah, I never heard about him.
No, but I think I need to take a screenshot of this because he's saying he's agreeing with me. Hang on. I really need to take a screenshot because that does not happen very often. Let me see. I don't know if I miss anything up.
Is he gonna delete the comment until you do that?
Well, you never know. Okay, here we go. Now it's in my system. All right.
He said, Djordje, your mic is low. My mic. So is it better now? So that what Betty and Thomas said. My mic, like for talking mic. I assume that's what they mean, but it will be low because I have to play bass, so I don't have the lavalier. I should get it again, but see, you got this from Thomas. I was lying, Kim.
See, I knew it.
Okay, so it's better now. So let's do the routine.
Okay, so usually I go in 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2, right, and then I just like mess around on the bass, and I have this like. Something silly like that.
Okay, and that's in the key of D minor.
Yeah, that would be D, Mr. Conservatory guy. D. I never use those things. D. That is a D. Yes.
I've been brainwashed for 14 years in a music school, so I have to think about that way.
It's all good.
All right, so how do you hear my bass?
I totally hear it.
All right, so all right, I think I got the first part, and then I'll try to do that. I'll try to do that first. So there's like 2 quadruples. Are we going to be talking about terminology right after this? But
okay,
let me try to remember what you did. That's the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so again. So it's again 4-4-3, right? Okay. right?
Yeah.
And then it goes up to A. Oh, it goes up to G sharp. And you're playing G sharp on D string?
Yeah.
Okay, and I think you're playing what I call double rumba. Right? Okay. All right. I think I got that part. Let me see. Let me try all together.
All right. Dude, yeah.
Something like that.
I want to break dance right now.
You know, I'm actually in the closet here, so I would break dance too.
Djordje in the closet. You better come out.
Yeah, I gotta come out
Eventually.
once I'm done with the slap stream. Okay, so I have a little problem with this mic, but it is what it is. Okay, so all right, so now the interesting part. Like, show if you can and explain as much in detail as possible the thumb and pinky thing.
It's very simple. You do like this. That's it.
So it goes. All right, so I have to go a little higher. Damn. Okay. Technology. We have all this stuff, and it's still not working.
So I want to read up a comment. James Dawkins, it's 2020, Djordje. Don't be afraid of coming out.
And I'll feature it.
Good.
So you start with the thumb and then go to the pinky.
No, it depends. Some songs I have like Nice Day for a Resurrection. I kind of go straight into the. So it's
So what is the first move?
See it actually wait. Okay. See, now you have me analyze myself. So I start like almost like a drag.
Okay, but so it's the pinky first.
It's always pinky first, yeah.
Okay, got it. Well, I have metal strings and kind of like high action, but
Wah, 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 wah.
So
yeah. That's a different one. You're making a taka-da-dang, and it's only a taka-da-taka-da-taka.
You know, I actually practiced this because of some other guest that was doing similar thing, but quadruples. I might have a hard time like to delete that one, but maybe if I
You know what? You know this one, right? You could do this one.
Sure. Yes. Lifting your right hand a little bit. Perfect.
So you know this one, right?
Yes.
And then you go over to the pinky. Back to the other one.
I'll have to do it slow. And the pinky starts. So if you show me how to do it slow, then hopefully our audience will be able to hear and practice the same thing. So the idea is this.
No, it's simpler. You wanna complicate it more. It's like that's it, like this. And then you go faster, 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 faster. So basically,
So instead of adding that one, I should just do.
yeah. And then
I always add the one. Okay.
you're turning into this one.
Okay. So instead of like doing, you're doing that with the pinky end, right? Cool. It's your signature sound.
What's that?
It's your signature sound.
I guess.
I have to practice that. Let me do the riff again, and then I will try to. Oh, but at the end you're doing something like that, right? Okay, got it. So on G sharp, you're doing So I always want to do, but it's not that.
Yeah. As you want to do that.
Yes. So like that, I can do it like that. But cool. So I'll practice that one. So while you keep the bass on. One thing that I always liked about, that I found kind of like specific about your playing as well is the intro for the S&M, because you're using double stops over there. Do you mind like showing that for a little bit?
That's basically it.
It sounds cool. I always loved double stops, and not many bass players use them with Slap. Another thing that I noticed, like when you play, is that you're using a third finger with your left hand, right?
Yeah.
That one. Yeah.
No, this one,
With your left hand.
Left hand.
Yes.
I guess, yeah.
So you're not using kind of like the proper way of the left hand technique. You're just hitting notes.
Everything I learned, I taught myself is like, I guess some of it bad habits, some of it is just developed. I soon found out that it's very good to put your thumb in the back rather than on the side, and I see a big mistake a lot of people, slap players, do is like, they stand on the side of the bass, have the bass between their legs, and they're like, I don't know, some sort of sexual humping going on, and I'm thinking like, no wonder they have a hard time slapping from this angle. It doesn't make sense. Then again, I see a guy like Lee Rocker, he does it all the time, and it seems to work for him, but to me, my arm cramps up. I want to have my arms relaxed, get slightly behind the instrument, and put my thumb here. I mean, I can deviate from those rules sometimes when I play really fast, but I think it's very important to relax, especially in this arm. Have like loose wrists like that.
Yeah, being relaxed is very important. Cloudberry is asking, "Oh, any chance to hear the solo in Backstage Pass to Hell?"
I can't even remember that one. I haven't played that song in 10 years, and I cannot. I knew there was somebody who's going to ask for those solos. Um,
Well, I'm glad it's not me.
to be honest, I would love to if I remembered it, but I have to listen to it first.
Oh, okay. So one question that I always love asking all my guests is the terminology and nomenclature like that you're using. So when you play, um, are you using that like single slap, double slap, triple slap kind of thing if you have to explain the technique that you're using? Is that the terms that you're using or something else?
No, because I don't really I don't really talk techniques with anybody in my band. I mean, I play my stuff and the guitarist plays his stuff, the drummer plays his stuff. It's not like, hey guys, you need to shut the fuck up because in the first chorus I need to do a triple dibble something. I mean, they wouldn't understand that anyways, and I don't even know the terms. I mean, I know what a triple and a double is, but I mean, when
Okay, so I would be curious to see because different people. I noticed bluegrass people kind of are using their own. Their double slap is one thing, which is different than rockabilly people and this. And then I'm trying just like to figure out how different people think about it. So do you mind like just showing like what is single slap, what is double, what is triple for you?
Yeah, I mean, like basically a single slap that's a single slap. I mean, some people discuss whether it's a slap, but to me, the snap of the string is the slap. Also, like, and then you introduce the one in the middle. And then you move on to. And then,
so if you name those two, the one in the middle and the one with two, like how would you call them?
I don't know, Cassiopeia. I don't know. Okay, so the first one, single. So this would be no. So single, and then single followed by a slap. That isn't that a double slap? What is a normal? What do you call it?
I always count the way that you explain it. I always count the slap of the string, and I count the palm slap as well. So as long the string slaps the fingerboard in any way, I count it as a slap.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, and then you can start doing the. Then you can start adding and combining the. Like this would be a. What's that?
Well, since that one really depends on actually it does not depend on a tempo of the song. You're kind of playing it the same way if it's a slow or faster. Then I usually call it an ornament because you can't just think about. You do have three. You have three, so it technically is a triple slap, but you cannot say it's a triplet or a gallop or this or that. So it's
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I see people call them, like you said, different music genres. They have their different terminology, and people have their little variations too. Some of them sound very similar, but are done in a different way. Either using the palm or. But to me, it's all the same. It's just different styles, and I don't think it has anything to do per se with the musical genre, but more like that is what is accepted as a terminology in, say, bluegrass, or this is in jazz, this is in rockabilly, and I just use my ears. I don't really care what it's called. I mean, because it's music, and music is going in through these, and not,
I absolutely agree. Like for a musician, performing musician, you don't need to know any of that. And then, but I do find it very helpful when doing
Of
master
course,
classes or explaining, or for people that want to learn, when they can kind of like make some kind of structure in their head.
because it's not like, I imagine. I mean, not that I ever gonna do that. Imagine if I was a teacher. Okay, now you do the thing. You know, I did with those things. Okay, go ahead. You have to have. So I get
Yes,
it.
absolutely. I do a decent amount of master classes, and I like trying to figure out the correct terminology that would be more acceptable. Um,
Well, in that case, you can name this for the Necrothump.
all right,
Have my permission to do that.
I'll remember that. Thank you for the permission. um, so what I wanted to ask you, is there wait, like I have like my little cheat sheet here. Um, okay. So I think we're good with the base for a little bit. You don't have to.
I can throw it out.
Uh, oh, please don't do that.
I'll just build another one.
Tyler asked, "Is there a different terminology due to different locations for genres?" I'm not sure actually what you mean by location for genres, but if you mean about genres, different genres, yes. Bluegrass people usually do not talk about single slap if there's no palm slap that follows the string, and which I kind of do not agree with it, but it is. I'm not gonna change every bluegrass player. But Tyler, you can check out the old Slapstream episodes. I asked the same question to each of my guests, and they all gave their opinion about it. Um,
Well, I think like Eli says, if we need a universal one, we should go kind of by the way drummers are defining those different.
Mhm.
That would be the closest.
that's definitely helpful. Um, so since you built your own technique, your own instruments, and your own your own approach to the genre, um, with all these, over 30 years of experience, are there any mistakes that you made that you would rather not do if you had to start like all over again? And then would that be, if you can give an advice like to somebody who's starting out and maybe inspired by your playing?
Um, no, I don't. There's no regrets. I think everything is about, for me, improvising and just do stuff. And if it doesn't turn out super well, you try another road or something else. So as for mistakes, we all make mistakes all the time. Um, it's hard to give advice, because one thing is learning how to play an instrument. Another thing is to actually start a band, and get to the point where you're able to release albums and go out and play. So it's hard. I mean, as a musician, there's a lot of sacrifices. A lot of people. I mean, it's not like you can have. Holy shit! You're still there,
Yes, I'm here, but there's like some like motor sound as well.
dude. My computer screen just went bam, and then I see this fucking scam likely trying to call me, and I was like, damn, I lost the connection now.
Oh no, you're here.
All right.
We're still
Okay.
going.
Yeah. So
No regrets and no particular advices.
no regrets, no advices. Um, just just play the game. I mean, and take chances, and that's what it's all about. That's what music is all about. You know,
Definitely, if you want to create something, taking
exactly.
chances.
Especially that. I mean, that's why I did start my own band, which means my rules. It's different if you are a hired gun or you play with somebody else, and that's why you should be the king. That way, you're always right because the boss is never wrong.
See, as Drew Rowan says, just be you. Um, I agree with that. Like my approach was a little bit different. I wanted to be kind of like when I started being a bass player. I kind of wanted to be capable to survive or play in any genre or any possible situation. So I kind of did kind of the proper route of conservatory and this and that, so that
Hmm.
I'm able to play in a symphony orchestra. But I was always more drawn to rock and roll um, and
And
know
I,
there are different
yeah,
rules.
and I get that. That's because you kind of determined that you wanted to be a bass player and you wanted to live off that. Where I'm like, I just want to start a band. Okay, I guess I'll take the bass. I mean, it's cool, but okay, I need a singer. I'm not gonna have somebody else sing. I can fucking sing. Why should I be able to sing? And I guess because I've been singing ever since I started playing bass, it's so natural for me. So it's like I can see people trying to learn to sing after been playing bass for years. It could be like a mind fuck, but
I,
again, yeah, go ahead.
so my next question, but I think that you kind of answered it, is like, what would be your advice like for people that want to get the gig? Because as far as slap bass players, there's really maybe five like real gigs that so it's 5 6, I don't know.
I don't know because if I didn't have a gig already, I mean it would be weird because in that case you need to be really diverse. You should be able to play almost anything on command. If you want to be a hired gun or you want to, I mean even I know good bass players out there that doesn't have a gig because there's just no need for it. I mean,
Yes.
it's not like it's a very small niche when it comes to slap bass. And you see, like already you can see on your show here, like a lot of other genres are touching the slap bass thing, and some people do it more, some people do it less, but it's all part of, but it's totally different.
That's the beauty of it. I want to like present how slap could be diverse by itself, and it's not just a shtick. Like I often, like back in the day, people say like, "That's great, but that's a shtick. Like save that for one song or one solo or something. Just don't
Yeah,
do
and
it."
yeah, exactly. And I hear even today people talk about that. Oh, you shouldn't be slapping all the time, but I'm like, why not? If that's what I like. If
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
if I like intensive slapping, it's kind of like saying, oh, the drummer can use fills all the time. Yeah, because I fucking love fills, especially with my rockabilly or neo rockabilly. I fucking love fills all the time. So it's a matter of taste, but and it's up to the individual whether or not they think it's too much.
Absolutely. Um, so as far as essential slab based recordings, are there any recordings that you can uh think of, like, that
What
every slab based player should know, should be aware of?
It's funny because I get that question all the time on Messenger. People are like, "Oh, Kim, I'm going to the studio. Should I blah 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 blah?" And it all depends. If you want, do you want an acoustic sound, or do you actually like your amplified sound? Because those are kind of two different things. There's also a combination. So it all depends. Like you can make fucking awesome results. I mean, I received a Grammy for that recording with just a Neumann in front of my F hole. That was it, and it sounded awesome for that particular bass. But I don't know. People should use their ears. They should, like everything else in the studio, put up a mic, move it a bit, move it away a little bit, play, move it upwards, sideways, use the combinations, and that's what studio work is all about: is not getting tired before you get the sound you want. You know, the perfect sound.
So how do you record your bass?
Whew, all the above. I try like with the basses. I try everything. Every time it's like, even though I know I tried it 1,400 times before, like I need to have that ribbon in the front. I need to have that condenser in the back. I need to mic up the cap. I need to have a DI. And then I sit there with like, and then, oh, fuck. It actually sounds good only with, you know, it all depends on the song too. Sometimes, you know how it is. Like sometimes, oh, I mostly use the D and G string. And actually, that's where the microphone sounds really good on the cabinet. But when I use the E and A for another song that's super fast, always sounds way better, you know, from the cabinet or a combination with the microphone.
But you're always by yourself in a separate room, kind of like layering the bass on top of the drums.
For the most, yeah, for the
Okay.
most. Sometimes, yeah, actually for the most.
And you have like you're using, you mentioned cabinet, so but you usually record with two mics and a line out to the cabinet.
Not usually.
No.
No, that's not no such thing as usual. I'm trying to remember what we did last time. We did have a mic in the front, like a fucking $20,000 old Neumann, and then we have one in the back on this one on the coffin bass, and then I think we had a line out from my Shadow with the mixed bass and slap, and then we had the bass cabinet without the slap, just the bass tone. What we ended up using in the various mixes, I cannot remember. I'm all about using everything you can, and then you can sit there with your six, 8 channels and determine which one to fire and which one are similar. Or, but every time I approach it in a new way. It's not like, oh, I know every time, like pluck 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 pluck. That's my sound. Every time I have to experiment and play around.
Yeah, it's always better like to have more, I guess, more choices, like when you're trying to find the perfect sound than having.
Yeah, but
less.
the danger is that, like in the old days, like the 2 first albums we did was purely analog, you know, straight to 24-track tapes. And the first album we did in 2 days and mixed the third day, and the second one we did in a week because we thought we didn't have more time. So we're like, oh, and you know, the label come down like, well, you guys done already? Well, we thought we needed to be in a hurry. Nobody told us how long we. But now, you know, everybody with the whole digital domain, all of a sudden you can like do so much more stuff, but you spend a lot of time. You don't commit like you did in the old days. And I'll be the first one to say, like, that'll kick me in the ass, but I kind of like it because I like to go through all. I learn a lot that way. But sometimes you miss, like, okay, you show up, where's the microphone? Bam. Thank you. Where's my check? And you go out again. You know, that would be awesome, but that's just not how it is anymore.
Yeah, you have a question that I don't know how to read, so you'll have to do it. But I'm gonna.
Yeah, that's in Swedish. Kan man köpa Hellbound och Curse of the Coffin någonstans? Svar att få tag på. So can you buy Hellbound and Curse of the Coffin albums anywhere? They're hard to get hold of. I guess online. I don't even know because not too long ago, that was one of our albums that I didn't have on CD, and I actually had to go on Discogs and buy my own fucking album secondhand just to have it. Um, sure,
Which
if you
album
go
was
on Discogs or that was Demons Are a Girl's Best Friend.
that? That's the one that you had to buy.
I had to buy, yeah, because I was like, I don't fucking have it on CD anywhere, and the only option was like get the MP3s on YouTube or whatever, and it just didn't sound. And I was like, fuck, like, I have to buy it. So there you have it.
um, Rocco asked, like, I love my amplified sound. What would you recommend to record that?
Well, you could use a microphone on your cabinet, because the question is, do you love the sound that comes out of your cabinet, or do you love the sound coming out of your preamp or your amplifier? And those are two different things, because different cabinets makes different sounds. But I would, if you like what you hear in the rehearsal room, I would put a mic, any fucking nice mic, in front of your cabinet, move it around, move it back. You can have it close, you can have further away, because further away probably sounds more true to what you conceive in your ears as your good sound.
And you mentioned the mic behind the bass. Like, so what is that? What is that one for?
Well, okay, so an upright bass, it's not like sound only comes out of the F holes. Sound comes out everywhere because the whole body vibrates. So you hear sound all the way around, and just like you have an ambient mic for a drum kit, you have a little further away, you experiment with that. It's the same thing. Like, put a mic in the corner of the room or behind the bass or up high, and it might pick up something that sounds awesome, or it might reproduce what you actually hear in your ears when you stand in that room yourself and play. And then you get in, you hear the recording afterwards, like, that's not how it sounded in my head. No, because microphones are now taking the place of your ear, and if they're not where your ears are, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So you're trying to find the something that it's most similar to the sound that you hear in your ears.
Well, that would be first step. I mean, that was just a suggestion to Rocco, because he really likes his sound. So I would assume he likes his sound from out of his, what he's hearing in his ears. So he should kind of, maybe put the microphone in a similar place. Like, instead of everybody puts it right in front of the cones or up to the cone. But I mean, if we stand up here and the bass cabinet is down here, then your ears are hearing something different than a mic down there would hear, if that makes sense.
It does. What would be are there any slap bass players that are, not your influences from before you started playing, but some other slap bass players that you like and appreciate that play nowadays?
Well, you know how it is with your first love. I will always love Phil in the Polecats, and I will always love Gary Day in the early Freddy Flintstones, because he had an amazing sound there. I love me some Steve Whitehouse and Friends here too. So all those, and again, Graham Grant from The Minute Ago. I mean, I love all that stuff, and all those are different. I mean, just the ones I mentioned there sounds so very different when you really dig into it. Also, because one is on metal strings, one is a magnetic pickup, one's with piezo pickup, one has gut strings, one changed to nylon strings, and so on and so on and so on.
We talked about your basses, and we talked about a little bit about your strings. And what kind of amps and pickups are you using?
Ooh. So, okay, let me see. Where do we start? Let's start from the start. So you have your strings, You have your bridge. On your bridge, you have some sort of pickup. Pizzo or pizzo. I don't. How do you pronounce it, Djordje?
I said I said piezo, but like I noticed that Americans usually say piezo.
Yeah, that confuses the fuck out of me because I say piezo too. So fuck them. It's called piezo or whatever. You know what I'm talking about. That thing.
Yes.
The transducer. So the first bass I got had an Underwood on it. I hate Underwood. Underwood sucks. And let me tell you why. Because Underwood, I mean, all the pizzos are very similar and basically the same with different material, different placement on the bridge. But Underwood is just have a lower output. I know people would hate me for that, and they love their Underwood. I love the fact that it has two, so it faces out each other, and they let one hang. Anyways, they're all the same. So my favorite is a pizzo or piezo. And it doesn't matter if it's metal strings, nylon strings, gut strings. I still love the sound best with the piezo. Yeah, now I lost it.
Pickups and amps.
Yeah. Oh man, I could go on forever about that. So, okay, so about 20 years ago, the first K&K entered the market where you can actually put, two pickups into a little preamp box, and you had control and couldn't mix it on that one. Until then, that was impossible. You had to have two cables, either two amps, or in my case, I had this little Sherwood 90 that was made for keyboard and acoustic instruments. It was like a little tiny one with a 15-inch, but it had a tweeter you could turn on and off, and it had two inputs with separate EQ and so on. Fast forward to K&K, and now we got the Shadow Rockabilly Pro, which does the same thing. It's even better than the K&K because you have a built-in tuner. Tuners can sometimes be useful. Then you have all your little knobs where you can really fine tweak between your two pickup. When I say two pickup, I'm talking about the piezo, on the bridge. In this case, it's right here in the wing on my special made Deuce bridge made by Jason Brown. Thank you again, Jason. I had this for years with the custom legs, little coffins. Anyways, you have another pizzo, puzzo, pipi, pickup, whatever you want to call it, up here onto the fingerboard. I know some traditional people say like, oh, I don't need that because I have to slap through my tone pickup. Yeah, right. To me, that'll be the same as a drummer says like, oh, you don't have to mic up the snare drum. You can just use the one inside the kick drum and kind of EQ on that. No. You have to have two separate sources, two separate pickups. Okay, all that stuff can go through your cables, or if you're like me, you like wireless because you cannot control all those cables. You fall in them and they're just annoying. My favorite amplifier is and will always be Galen-Kruger. GK is just the best. My favorite one is a 1001 RB2. It's been for many years. That's Class A amplifier. And now with all the Class D, when everything is so fucking tiny, I have the latest one. I like the MP series. I don't think the MP series had that same hammer that of a class A as the 1001 have. But now the Legacy, they just came out with the Legacy, like I guess that's a year ago now, and that one kicks ass. That's my favorite. Goes into my favorite cabinets. I mean, I love Galen-Kruger cabinets. On top of the list are the RPH cabinets. They're huge, 410s. Patricia couldn't just do with 2 of those. No, she needs 2 on each side. So she has fucking 16 tens on stage. But after I discovered Green Boy cabinets, then I gotta say, I have here, right here, I'm looking at it. You guys are sitting on it. That's a Green Boy F212. Those are amazing because not only do they have the tweeter, they have the 12s, and they have, I believe, a 6-inch mid too. So it's basically like a PA speaker. So all of a sudden you can hear what your bass sounds like, which can be a little hard if you use 412 or 812 or 810 with a tweeter. But if you have that mid, it tells you so much more of what you actually sending to front of house. That was a lot of stuff. Holy shit! I need to break.
So you're mostly using the Green Boy with the 12s.
Yes, I am. The 212s, I could wish for a little more. I wish I had one more. I had another one.
Like 3 12s or another cabinet with 2 12s?
Another cabinet like that. So yeah, so a double up of what I have.
So you basically prefer 12s over 10s?
No, not necessarily. I think I do not like 15s. I think 15s are people. I think they're too slow. I don't know. It's probably not the right word, but there's something people say like, "Oh, you need that low end." Yeah, but it's like, I mean, in the early days, I would like to think that I was too fat for them, but of course that's bullshit. I just don't like the way the characteristics of it's just, so 10s are my preferred, but you need at least 4 10s before it can kick proper ass. And
I actually agree with you. I had problems with the 15s. When Orange offered me the endorsement, I first asked him to ship me 115 with 4 10s, and I tried 4 10s. I was like, this is it. Yeah, this is what I want. And I plugged in 15 as an extra, and I was like, this is awful. I don't like this. So just bring me another 4 10s. So I returned the 15, got 4 10s, and I was like, yeah, this is it. And I still play 8 10s.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I mean, Mr. Guy Trick in the UK sent me my first Green Boy, which was a 110. And I mean, it sounds awesome and it's great probably for recording, but live is just that's not enough. You need more power.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're standing, in just a decent sized stage, you're at least 5-6 feet away from your amp, and there's so much other shit going on, and I need that. The 212 is getting close. It's struggling a little bit, so I've been adding the 110 with a sub 10. So basically, another 2 10s on the side.
Mm-hmm.
Not too bad. The problem is there's a mismatch in impedance, but that's why the new Galen-Kruger head comes in handy, because it accepts everything from 2, 2.7, 4, 8, 16 ohms. Anything you throw in, and it would just work with it.
That's nice. So what's your current setup? I mean, pre-Corona setup, like the Green Boy or Galen-Kruger?
The Green Boy right now. The Green Boy, also because of the size, it's so handy. It can almost fit in your fucking pocket.
It's interesting that you're mentioning 12s. Like a few episodes before, we had Jason Burns from the Blast Cult, and he was talking very highly of the 12.
I heard about that guy.
Yeah, so he was talking about 12s, the orange, but 12s, and he recommended me to try those as well because they're smaller and I guess more handy. So I might, you're mentioning that as well. I might try that. I know that I'm staying away from the 50s, from the 15s.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, there is a difference between the 10s and the 12s. When I compare the GK ones, I have the 412 Neo cabinets. I'm trying to see how to explain the difference. Like you have the 10. The 10 to me sound like it's just there. And the 15 is just floppy somehow. It's like something is going on. The 12 it's not exactly in between. It's closer to the 10.
Okay.
It's almost like it has not in a negative way, but it's like when I think of them, the picture I see is something nasal. It's like it adds a little nasally. Maybe it's the mids it adds. I don't know. So I think you might love it or you'll hate it. I don't know. It also, I guess, depends on what sound you're going for. Because are you going for like a deep thumpy Jimbo Wallace style, or are you more mid-tony? Like I can be sometimes very doink because I like to be able to hear that tone, or I think it all depends on that.
Sure. So you would say that the 12s are more bassy or more nasally?
More nasally somehow than the 10s.
Okay.
I think they do the same as the 10s, but they add something.
Okay.
Some nasally. It's not something it's not deeper. It's not punchier. It's a sound thing.
Like twangy?
No, nasal.
No? Okay. All right.
I mean, that's why in this world, that's why they have the Tower of Babel, because when people cannot use the same terms, they cannot communicate.
All right, let me like we got like quite a few questions. All right, so guys, like we are kind of wrapping up now. It's really hot where Kim is in Coffinville, and it's very breezy here in the Slapsville. So, so if you have questions for Kim, now's the time to do that. Oh, it's like too many comments. I can't go all the way up. Okay. So
what is that sound? Is it me or you?
It's what?
That was just this weird sound. I don't know if it's gone now.
Okay. You're awesome. Perfection. That was great. I think this is all for your performance. Hell yeah. So people were clapping.
Yeah, I saw that.
You heard them, right?
Oh no, I didn't hear them, but I saw them. I felt them.
So
the energy.
Next time they should be louder and sweatier.
Yeah.
So it's the version of the song that made us smile the most. That's what Cloudberry said, and Matt Finn said, like, thank you for playing like this for us. And Holy Gonzalez said, Kazoos over Copenhagen.
I like you pronounce it as Holy Gonzalez. I think it's Holly Gonzalez, but I like Holy Gonzalez better.
Okay. Well, I'm still a foreigner.
Me too.
So hope that all these Americans can understand everything we're saying. With
we should have that subtitles, huh?
Okay, so this is from Kachunga. Do you know how to pronounce that better than me, Kim?
I don't know. Kachunga.
Kachunga, okay. When alternating between strings very fast, do you also alternate the picking finger?
Actually, I do, yes. I found out when I saw a video of myself, and I did not realize that I was doing that. Let me demonstrate. I actually found out that I did. Can you see that? I actually do like this. especially like on these ones. Yeah, especially on these ones, I alternate.
So when you're alternating between, which fingers are you alternating? Which fingers are you using for slapping? Always those two, never the ring finger.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Well, this is like a unit when I mostly these two, and then I go faster and faster, and I start instead of doing this, I can do this way faster. I guess I changed it up throughout the set.
Johan Nilsson is asking, great played, and can you play the solo part of Panic at the Morgue?
Oh God, I knew it! I knew it. See, that's a song I haven't played in. I think we played it live once, and that album is from 2007.
Oh wow! Okay. So
yeah.
that song you played once in your life?
Probably. That's. I mean, we have a lot of songs. We can't play all of them all the time, you know.
Yeah, sure. But
Panic at the Morgue. Oh God. I think I have to play it a little slow first to kind of like remember it. Okay, so. Okay, now in the right tempo. Oh, I think that's close enough.
You got it, Johan? Happy?
You better be fucking happy.
You know what? Like all these people are asking for bass, but there's like more and more and more comments. Like Jesus, he wants more kazoo. All right. Matt Vince said, finally, we saw Kim's internet humorous personality mixed with his not talking much live show personality. So you're not talking much during shows?
Well, I don't know. I think I do. I mean, I'm not. It's not like a fucking stand-up comedy thing. So
yeah.
So I do a little talking, but I mean, it's about music there, and not me blabbling away in my mouth, my big mouth. So.
Do you have any rule like at the beginning of a show that you don't play? I remember like when I was playing with Lemmy, it was the rule 3 first songs, jackets on, no talk. So and I always remember that, and then I kind of implied it in when I'm leading. I kind of like that, you go and play because of the music.
Yeah, I don't really have any. No, I mean, 21st songs. Keep your boxer briefs on. I don't know. No, I mean the dress code we have in NEKROMANTIX is always wear black. Wear black and no band t-shirts, no t-shirts with weird writing. Yeah, I mean no other band t-shirts. Sometimes it's kind of cool and fun, but I like the clean look of everybody just black. And we try to. I mean, I'm sure you can find some old pictures of me playing in shorts, but I do not. Shorts are not allowed in NEKROMANTIX.
Oh, okay. Well, that was kind of the thing in the psychobilly scene in the 80s, right?
Yeah, it was, and I mean, it was kind of fun back then, but not anymore. I don't like the cargo shorts either. I mean, people can dress exactly as they like. I just see like 40-plus-year-old men looking like a little baby up there with those. I mean, if they want to do it, fine. It's just not for me. I mean, what are you gonna say?
Yeah, I got it. Katarina says, see, I know how to pronounce her name, Katarina Vlasic.
Just wash hands.
Yeah, so that was like for your performance. And Sandbox Bullets, Hands of Kim, cheers.
Hats off to you guys.
And Uchiha Omadara said, like, Frenzy bass player was insane too. That's Steve Whitehouse, and he will be my guest in a couple of weeks. So
Nice.
make sure to subscribe and watch that episode as well. James said, hats off to Paul Roman. I agree. Best thing about the music is a little more edge. And seeing the HorrorPops at Hootenanny Rad Show. When was that? Hootenanny was a long time ago, right?
Yeah, we played. I think we played. Yeah, we played a few Hootenannies with both HorrorPops. Both HorrorPops and NEKROMANTIX played. Yeah. Wait, I know.
Oh, sorry. Have you ever played a show that both HorrorPops and NEKROMANTIX played together?
Yes. We did a whole tour.
Together, both of you?
Yeah, it sucked.
Oh, it sucked?
Yeah, I hate it. Because it kind of takes away from the other band when you already been up there, and it's like, and it's hard work too, because you have to like switch totally mode now from being a bassist to being a guitarist and vice versa. You know, it's like it's not cool. I don't like it.
Well, people love HorrorPops. Thank you, Kim and Patricia. We understand anytime it's good for you, it's good for us. From Jack Edginton, Kim, I've noticed HorrorPop stickers in both films, Drag Me to Hell and Superbad. Were the directors fans?
I have no idea. I haven't seen that.
So now you know.
Yeah.
Drag Me to Hell and Superbad.
Well, I've seen Drag Me to Hell, but I haven't seen Superbad.
Have you noticed the stickers?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Jack, maybe you can give us the exact time, but that would probably require some research. So if you want to do that, write down the comment.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to make me watch the movies.
Maybe he has some kind of hidden agenda.
No, I don't think so.
19. No.
Boo.
Yeah, slap them all. That's what we do. And how about NEKROMANTIX Under Influences record? I assume that's like a covers.
Oh, I'm drunk.
Would you ever consider that doing the covers?
No, but I read it as something else, as Under the Influence.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
That's it.
I'm not really a big fan of cover songs, because I mean, I like to think that we make pretty good songs ourselves. Now and then, yeah, why not? I mean, we've done a few over the years, for the fuck of it, but I don't know, a whole album. I don't know. That sounds a little too much. But then again, never say never.
But it might be cool, like the stuff what you said when you played covers when you were starting, not with NEKROMANTIX, but with the other band that the name I cannot pronounce.
Yeah,
what was it?
Mek and the Peckabillys.
Yeah, that one, Mek and the Peckabillys.
Yes.
So actually, let me write that down so people can, so I can feature that. So how have you spelled Mek?
MEK.
MEK. And the
PEK abilities.
PEK.
PEK.
PEK. ABILLYS or IES?
IES.
IES. All right. So guys, if you wanna check out Kim's old band that won a Grammy, that's this one, Mek and the Peckabillys.
Yeah.
So let me get back to these. No, now I lost the serious comments. Um. Okay.
There's a lot of comments. I can't even.
Okay. Well, the oldest one that I can reach now is Thomas's. I'm agreeing with Kim. That hurts.
Oh yeah,
You know
yeah.
what, Thomas?
Did
Now it.
that one we need to let stand for a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Or yeah, life is better now. James said slap bass is like cowbell. Well, no, it's much cooler than cowbell.
Yeah, it's more like castañeras, if anything.
Um, Uchiha or Madara? Did you take the screenshot again?
Yeah, I took with my phone.
Well, now it's there forever for the eternity. So,
Well, because I wanted to make a better face.
okay, cool.
Exactly. There we go. Okay.
From Uchiha Omadara, only necrophilia was played with a classic music intro. No other one using a bow.
No. The intro to Save My Grave, I'm using a bow.
Actually, I haven't asked you about it. So, you do play with a bow?
I wouldn't really say I play with a bow. I mean, I've been playing around with a bow.
Okay. And how do roto sounds react to the bow?
I don't think they react very well. I mean, I don't like the amount of what do you call rosin? What do you call that?
Rosin?
Yeah, rosin. I don't like that stuff on my strings, and then it's a mess, and then I'm like, fuck it. Every 5 years, I'm like, oh man, I need a bow. That could be so cool, and then I get one, and I'm like, fuck this shit. That's not cool. So I've been using it for an intro. I believe you two you've been had it like a little intros.
I do, yeah.
Yeah,
I love the bow.
yeah. See, I bought. Have you seen the one you can get like the miniature ones? It's for bass, but they're just small.
I haven't seen it.
It's like a 6 or 7 inch, but it's like super good quality. But it's just to use for little stuff, not like not classical or lengthy. It's not my thing. Not and I think the bass needs to be set up especially for that. Just as I think a bass needs to be set up for bass for slap.
Yeah, for your style of playing, I think that setup really works good. And I'm using, I mean, not in Tiger Army or like when I play rock and roll, but I would say that I'm using equally bow or slap or pizzicato in general, and then I have to find what works good for all these different styles.
Mhm.
That's
So yeah, so you have more like an all-round bass where
yes.
where this one, the coffin, I consider that as like a racing machine compared to a normal car. This is like decked out to play for that purpose, and because it's built for speed, like the neck is way slimmer than normal. Like you guys play on those 4x4s. I hate them. It needs to be slim, and so you can be fast. It needs to be shorter. It needs to, it's like it's like you see those metal guys when they play those crazy guitars compared to like an old Gretsch.
Yeah.
It's like night and day, but the Gretsch might look cooler, but have you played one of those things? It's like no wonder they're so fast. And I think it's the same thing with slap bass.
Well, I do like that you have your own approach and your own sound, and then you should, stick to it. It's great.
I have my own rules.
What do you say?
I have my own rules.
Yeah, that works too. Oh, a question, like since we had that lesson part, were you ever thinking to do like master classes or instructional videos or stuff like that? I'm sure that people would be interested.
Yeah, I don't have the patience to work directly with people. I would get annoyed if they can't do what I'm telling them right away. I would get, and I don't think that's very good for business. So
Okay.
if anything, instructional video, but these days you can find anything online. I mean, it might be interesting for people that are fans of the band, but I mean, if I today wanted to learn something, all it takes is fucking YouTube, and I can go on Slapstream and see everybody's playing styles, and it's like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm not the type. I don't have patience to work with somebody like that.
Mhm.
Some pupil. I would probably end up getting arrested because I get pissed off and talk shit to them.
Tyler wanted to say that he gave you a 3D printed coffin base in Salt Lake.
Yes, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I still have it on the tour bus.
Oh, really? Oh, that's where you keep it. Cool.
Yeah, it's this size,
Oh, wow. Okay.
and it's awesome.
Um, Eli said, true about Slap, the best Meteor songs are the ones with Slap. But having said that, Paul P uses the E bass very well in the songs. Somebody else asked about a Panic at the Morgue.
Ooh, can you explain?
Yeah.
I explained it right. Okay, I know what he's talking about. It's the same. It's a pinky thing.
Yes.
In that particular 2 or 3 spots.
Let me see. All right, so questions. Oh, from Cloudberry about Backstage to Hell. And then Rocco said like that not familiar with the proper and improper hand technique. So just do whatever works for you. If you want to find out the proper technique, I would recommend getting a lesson from somebody that plays in a symphony, classical music.
Yeah,
if that's your thing.
Because it can hurt you if you're doing something wrong. I mean, you could be prone to arthritis or something, and it could actually fuck you up if you do something really wrong. But
I absolutely agree. Yeah.
Rules, so.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has its own thing. Like when I have students, occasionally I have a student that says like, why do I need to learn, notes or how to read or this? I always say, you know what? If there were like so many musicians that never knew how to do it and they were great.
Mm-hmm.
If they think they're, Louis Armstrong or somebody, go for it. I'm not going to stop anyone. Does it help? It does help. Mm-hmm. But it's also another thing what I came like through all these years to a conclusion. School is great for some people and school is terrible for some people because it limits you. It really limits you. For me, school kind of opened me up way more than I expected that I was ready to,
mm-hmm.
to understand everything. That's what James asked about rules. So where we're going, we don't need rules. Well, at this point, I don't know what to say. JC asked, any chance of a live stream gig?
No, there's no plans of it right now because it would mean that we have to find a place where we can socially distance and everybody keep safe, and that takes a lot of room. We can't just cramp up in some dirty old rehearsal room. So maybe I do some solo stuff after this. If people really like me to talk that much, then I guess.
Yeah. Betty is asking, Kim, what have you been some of your favorite bands to tour with?
There's been so many. I mean, people for the most are awesome to tour with. I can't really. I don't think I can really come up with any bands where I'm like, fuck, these guys sucked. I mean, maybe one guy in the band suck, or no, I don't know.
Like, can you come up with something like, oh, these guys were so cool?
They're all cool. I mean, that's why we go out with them in the first place. I mean, I'm trying not to favorize anyone because I
Okay.
like a lot of them. I mean, a lot of them been cool, you know.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing to do during on tours? Are outside of music?
Oh, you
Do you
mean
have time to
besides,
explore or something?
besides standing on stage and afterwards trying to settle and making sure merch card is paid and plan out where we're going to the next day, drive 2 or 3 hours
I'm
into the
sure
early morning to pull over at a gas station. Aside all that,
that.
yeah. Well, I don't think there is any time to do anything.
Yeah.
Every time I'm like, okay, this time I'm gonna bring something so I can record this awesome new gadget for my iPhone, and I I come home after the tour and it's still not opened because there's no time.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess if you're a band leader, I always like when I tour. If I'm on a tour bus, I try to wake up, early, go to local farmers market, try weird food, and then go explore the city, like see like whatever it's like I can fit in 2 or 3 hours. You
Yeah,
know, back to a tour bus.
yeah.
Play.
I see. I don't have that privilege.
Okay,
Um,
well, you're the boss.
yeah,
I have the privilege of not being the boss.
yeah. Lucky you.
Yeah. James Doken, he's asking, Kim, you still riding Nortons?
Um, I would love to own a Norton. I never had a Norton. Always had BSAs, Nimbus, and Triumph. So I would love to ride a Norton or Triton.
JC is asking, this isn't really a base question, but Kim, what kind of guitar do you use with the HorrorPops?
It's called a Sparrow. The brand is a Canadian brand called Sparrow Guitars. They don't exist anymore, unfortunately. So, but they were based out of Vancouver and made some pretty cool guitars. I mean, mine is super decked out because it's got that special finish on it with the stripes. But I have changed everything out to like top notch pickups, top notch hardware, everything.
Vivi is asking, how are you all going to handle if this goes on for another year? What are your plans?
Oh, look at that.
All right. It came out of nowhere.
Came out of nowhere. I don't know from where. My assistant.
That would be Mrs. Nowhere.
From Mrs. Nowhere. So, yeah. We start here. We see it's got the butter on. It's got the KIM NEKROMAN special nut made from Home Depot parts. And then, bam, bam. Nice and worn.
So back to Vivi. How are you all going to handle if this goes on for another year? What are your plans? And do you think Live Nation or anyone will send musicians crew relief?
Ha! I don't think there's any relief for musicians. We have to deal with shit ourselves and do what we can. So no, I don't think anybody's gonna help. For another year, I don't know. I mean, time will show, but we say that for 6 months now, and I don't think there's really anything else we can do. That just time will show, and if it doesn't turn around sooner than later, I guess we have to find alternatives to exist.
As Ivanka said, like we should just find something else to do, right? Just find some other job because
Yeah.
this is not a job.
No, I saw that. Yeah. I guess it's hard facts. But it is sad that our business is like nobody's talking about it on the news. I mean, everybody suffers, but nobody's talking about musicians. And I guess people still don't take us serious, I guess.
Oh, definitely. From Coffin Base 666, how many coffin bases have you built so far?
Okay. See, that question always confuses me because I built one. That one was the one that got stolen or thrown out. Number one. I made number two. Number three, I tried to use number two, and I kind of modified that. So then I did this one is number four. This one is from '92. It has a new front because the front was fucked up. So it's American, Danish made, but American made front. The neck and the fingerboard was broken because once on a tour in Germany, in the back of our van, Köfter was a passenger, and I took a sharp left turn, and he's a big guy. He landed on the base and broke the fingerboard. So four, so five. The other one is up in the so five, and then I have the one travel one and the latest travel one. So I think seven in total, 7 or 8.
I haven't asked you like about the coffin base materials that you're using. So what are you using for the fingerboard, and what kind of wood are you using for the body?
For all the bodies, birch, always birch, Finnish birch. And for necks, well, this is some random South American weird hard rose mahogany weird stuff. It was something I've been actually hauling all the way from Denmark. It was a piece I got almost 20 years ago, and I used it to make the original one, and I had this whole one so I could make a brand new one. What do you call maple for the neck, and that's it. Basically, pretty traditional materials for bass.
So the bases that you're making, they're not always completely the same, completely the same wood.
Well, they're almost always the
Okay.
same. Maybe fingerboard, I changed it up because I like another color or slightly different. But of course, the latest one, which is a full-on travel bass, the one that folds and fits in a bass guitar case that I can carry on, put it in the overhead locker. That one is always, that's the latest one, but obviously that's basically an electric upright bass because the strings stay on when I take it apart.
Okay.
Which makes sense because we travel somewhere, you go to Finland, I don't want to spend hours on putting my bass back together. I know other people, like this one too, I mean, it has a detachable neck. This was my first travel bass I made in '99 when we traveled to the US, and I didn't really have a case for it, so I took like what was on an old shelf, cut it, that brace and a bracket, and turned it into a travel bass, which I over time developed. So the travel bass is basically a bass everything comes apart. The front folds, you take off the neck, you take a part of the cross off, and everything fits in a guitar case. The next one I'm gonna make is gonna be even smaller. I want it to fit in a little suitcase like this.
Well, that might be the solution. And so, but once you set it up, then you use it like that on a whole tour. You don't.
That
do
depends.
Every day, right?
Well, if it's a tour in Australia where you fly between all the shows, you have to pick it up and take it apart every night.
How long does it take you to do that?
If I'm really slow and tired after a show and we have to fly in the morning, 10 minutes.
Oh, really? Oh, that fast? Oh, cool. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Have you ever used ebony for the fingerboard?
No. It's too heavy, and who needs that? that's another thing. I like my fingerboards. I guess you noticed very flat. See, there's almost no arch.
Mm.
Very flat, and I like them flexible. Look,
Ah,
because when they're flexible, that will increase your slap speed at least 10 miles per hour. I'm not even kidding. No, I like that it's flexible because it bounces back. It's like uh, banging on a snare drum, and if it wasn't like a skin that bounced back, you know what I'm saying? Same thing here.
sure.
I know
Well,
I
yeah.
know all the real bassists, they like it like that. It needs to be sturdy and not move out of place at all.
I never thought about it. I never thought about the flexibility of the fingerboard, but I do use ebony fingerboard, and it's the only one that I'm able to use on the long run without making grooves of high action,
Yeah,
high tension steel strings.
but
Uh,
yeah, I mean, and well, I don't have a problem. Okay, making grooves, then what? Just fix it. I mean, not a big deal.
I know, but it's if it's sometimes it could be like pretty often with this setup. I remember first
I,
bass that Jason made me. I had to bring it back in after 3 months. He wanted like I have this. He told me I have this new type of fingerboard that I would love you to try. I'm like, okay, I'm a little skeptical, but sure, I'll try it. And I went on one or two tours, and
uh,
literally after 3 months, it was gone. So I was like, you know what? I got these, fingerboards, ebony fingerboards from one village in Germany that I really like. Um, just put that one on, and it's still there.
well, I like them too. I just find it. I find the wood is too hard, and I like when they're a little flexible. I like my fingerboards flexible there in the end because it gives me some bounce back. It's like,
Absolutely. I mean, it makes sense for your technique.
yeah,
Um, from Jack Edgington, thanks for the inspiration. Djordje and Kim, could you both give an RIP to Steve Beercat McAvoy, my double bass tutor, who recently died? All right.
oh,
RIP, Steve
rest in peace, Steve.
Beercat. Um, Eric, I wish I wasn't late.
Oh,
Well,
that's the story of
not
your
like
life, Eric.
like
That guy, Texas. See, Texas.
oh, all right, okay. Well, lots of people then from here.
Okay.
Um, well, this one gonna live here on YouTube for the eternity, so you'll be able to watch it and watch it and watch it. But please watch all the other episodes as well. Medwin said that your eyebrows are unique.
Oh, thank you. I need to
Um,
trim them. They're not.
Johnny X is asking you about Ampeg. Well, there's a smiley face, so I assume this is some kind of inside joke.
Yeah, everybody knows that I don't like Ampeg.
Ah, okay. All right. So from Jack, what benefits do you get from your Deuce Bridge?
Um, uh, I like the fact that it does not tip over because of the feet. Um, I like the way you mount the pickup, and those are two very good. And it's super light, and I like its aluminum. I like the fact that you can change the wooden part where the string goes over, super easy, without changing out the whole bridge. So those are like the benefits I give.
Then Kurt is saying, I got rid of my Underwood like a bad habit.
Yeah,
Um, I haven't used Underwoods for a long time, but I did not have like such a strong opinion about it. I think it's like for jazz, jazz music, they're still pretty decent.
they they do the same job as all the others, and I just when I A/B them, I just think the output is lower, and that pisses me off because that's a bad design. But they're fine.
Even when you take out one piece.
Yeah.
Okay. From Francisco, then how did RB Shadow look to you?
It looks fantastic. What does that mean? RB Shadow. Yeah, I guess he's talking about the Rockabilly Pro Shadow.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, I use them myself. I have one on both of my basses, so they look fantastic.
Rocco Ruiz says, "Can you talk about a pickup system you recently developed that uses a light source, monoliths, I believe?"
Yes, that I have on my. I mean, it's not me who developed it. It's optical pickups, so they react to lights, just like a magnetic pickup reacts to magnetism, or induction, or however you want to say it. And I have. I didn't make those pickups. I'm the first one who uses them on an instrument like that. Yes. And they work fucking fantastic because there's no noise, and you could basically put any type of string on, and the pickup will just see the vibration and gives you a nice, smooth, fat tone.
Is it your favorite option now?
Yeah, I was trying to work with the company to adapt it for regular bass, and if I could put it on regular bass, I would do it in a heartbeat. Because they're awesome. They don't they don't care about weather or nothing. They just sound good.
Huh. I never tried that.
It's the future.
What is your string height by Holly Gonzalez?
Okay, so I don't know. I didn't bring a measuring tape, but at the very, very end of my fingerboard, I can like fit my little finger in under the G. Almost at the D, the A, I cannot get it under, and the E is way lower. So I'd say the E is 10 millimeters, and the G is almost 18 or 19 millimeters.
You know, I never measured the height of my strings, so when people ask me that, I'm like, I don't know, whatever feels comfortable.
Djordje, you know what? Real men don't measure. They just
Mental note. All right, another one that I cannot pronounce, also from Cloudberry.
Right, last question. When are you coming here next? I assume that since it's in Swedish, I guess somewhere in Sweden. I cannot answer that question because I don't even know when we play next.
Yeah. So you speak Swedish as well?
Yeah, it's very, very similar to Danish.
Croatian and Serbian?
I don't know. Are those similar, or is it the same?
They're almost the same.
Yeah, but here I mean, Danish, Norwegian, and Swedish and Icelandic all comes from the Viking language back. Danish is the one language that changed the most, and Icelandic is the one that's still most similar to original Viking language.
Huh, interesting. Okay.
But it's very hard for me to understand Icelandic. I can understand some of it, but it's very confusing because they use words in a very different way. Whereas Norwegian is very close to Danish, and Swedish is a variation of those two. There's some of the words are different, and the grammar is like opposite. Numbers are set the opposite way around, and but they all come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Slavic languages. I'm Serbian, so obviously speak Serbian, but I can understand, Macedonian or Bulgarian. Croatian is the same pretty much, and but I can also kind of understand Czech or Slovakian.
Yeah.
Again, Morgue Solo, Panic in the Morgue Solo. Guess you have to learn that one. Not to be. Do you know, guys, for how long you've already been talking? Respect. Thank you. Well,
I'm angry. I need to pee. I need to smoke. I need to.
Yeah. As long as you guys are still here, you're still here, or nobody left. So I guess it's not too bad, not too long. Kurt says my high C on my bumped roto seems to have too high tension. Any suggestions?
Yeah. It's probably he needs to look at the setup. It could be fixed in the setup. It might be okay. So I'm gonna reveal another little thing here. I'm not too happy about revealing all my little tricks and tips, but if you notice, my bass, I don't know if you can tell, but I line up the G string with the edge out here, and I'd rather move this one in so they're a little offset, because the further out you can actually bring it closer down, and it's easier, and you get a sense of less tension. I hope that answers, Kurt.
And I love that you mentioned that. It's who's the only other guy that I've seen doing that intentionally. It's Gilles Chevauchery, one of my favorite slap bass players. He's a French guy, older guy. I think he's almost 70 now. He was subbing for Willie Dixon in Memphis Slim's band in France. I went on his 60th birthday with Nicolas Duboucher, and he had that little trick. Like his G strings were always at the edge.
Yep.
So I was like, why is he doing that? I wonder that. So maybe it might be the same reason.
I mean, that makes sense, because that's what I learned is like, yeah, move it out there, bam, smooth, nice, slap, slap.
Interesting. Well, Kachunga is saying thanks for explaining. Awesome. For me, that's the most difficult aspect of your technique. Okay. From Drew, I will always remember you guys leaving Andy to play a solo while you walked to the bar and made him play until you finished your drinks.
True.
Do you still do that with your current drummer?
No. Not right now. We haven't done that in a while. I like to change things up.
From Uchiha, really great show. Many thanks for sharing all these stories. Much appreciated. Thank you, Kim. From Johan, something that I don't understand.
He says it's lovely.
All right. I'm not sure if that was the goal, but
That's a lot of Swedish people, huh?
I guess so. I don't know. You understand that. I was just like,
It is misspelled though, so I'm not sure if it actually is spelled in a half Danish, half Swedish way. So I don't know if
maybe he was trying to be closer to your language.
Could be.
And one very serious question now comes from Chuck Carner. Can you slap the kazoo?
You know what? Everything is slappable. Okay, hang on. This is gonna be a world first. Okay, piece of cake.
So was that like I have like actually a series of questions about that one. Were you using gallop slap there, or like triplets, or pinky thumb technique?
Again, you tell me. I just do, and I don't think about it.
Well, Vivi says that you're a pretty serious guy.
Yep.
James is asking you, why did you move to LA? Was it for HeadCat?
No, it was for you. Well, it made sense. We were signed to an American label, which meant that we were able to tour the US way more. And as you know, it's not like around the corner. Europe is like, it takes, 14+ plus hours. So it made sense to relocate to Los Angeles just for the fuck of it, and try it out. And I guess I got stuck.
But do you still like it? Do you still like LA?
Of course, that's why I live here still. Yeah, I do.
For how long have you been in LA?
Almost 18 years.
Oh wow. Okay. You're not moving anywhere else, right? Anytime soon.
Well, not right now, unless they kick me out. I don't know.
From Kachunga, when sliding down the neck with your left hand, do you care much about intonation?
Of course. All intonation matters. Sometimes it depends. It all depends on, I mean, of course, if the faster you play, sometimes you can, like, I don't know, if it's really fast. I think I try as much as I can to hit. See, another thing, even though I played bass for 30 years, I still use these. Yes. I use them mostly for studio use because, of course, a recording needs to be spot on.
But do you have to like when you're using them in a studio and you're setting up your bass kind of like almost every night, if it's a removable neck, those things change a little bit. Do you have to adjust it the way so it's perfect?
No, because this one I never take apart. You're talking about the other one.
Ah, okay.
The other one, when I take that off, the string are still attached. You never de-string it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like basically imagine an electric upright bass that you put a body on. So it will always be stringed and tuned.
Okay, so you never had problems with all the little dots?
No.
Vivi is asking you, are you going to start a cult, Holy Necro?
That's a secret. She's talking about my religious retirement plan.
Ah, okay. I guess she spent like too much time on a tour bus. She knows all these little things.
I think she's
Don't talk about pension plans.
Exactly. What happens on the bus stays on the bus.
Yes. You should know that by now. Me Mice ask, what hair product do you use?
Hairspray.
Only hairspray?
Just hairspray.
Anything in particular?
Well, I like to use what the fuck is it called? The green one, the one you can get anywhere. I like to get a brand that I can get anywhere in the world, so it doesn't smell different or behaves different.
Okay.
So just hairspray and a fucking lot of it.
And I'm asking you, like, so now you can ask them for an endorsement since you met that product on the.
Now I remember. Fuck this Garnier.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, there was one thing that I know you did ask me about that we never really. I'll just do a short little one. Of course, that sounds better when it's mic'd up through the amp. But
so now another one. So when you're doing that technique, how much are you thinking about the proper left hand technique?
Well, that would be proper tongue technique. And
is there a proper and
improper
tongue technique? Yeah. Okay.
There's school for proper tongue technique. I mean, obviously that's mostly for show.
Okay. You should start that should be like a special section for the cult.
I know.
Yeah. And how about flip-flops from Johnny X?
Oh, that's a bass union group inside.
Ah, okay. I'm not following that one that much, but Necromantics in Kilts.
That's been done before. Watch that clip from the Hootenanny at the Fullerton where we play Devil Smile live. That's one of the first ones that comes up on YouTube, and I'm wearing a kilt.
So for Necromantics, kilts, yes. Shorts, no.
Exactly.
Okay, I got it now. Mental note.
Songs, songs, yes. Speedos, no.
Okay. So no, but you're from Europe. Like speedos are kind of the standards over there.
Oh, speedos are the standard in South America. I don't know why everybody says that. I mean, I never seen one in maybe in Spain or Southern Europe, but never up north. No speedos.
Okay.
Uh-uh.
But you guys don't go to the sea at all. It's too cold over there.
Yeah, we do. We have like 2 weeks a year where there's sun on this little piece of sand, but no speedos.
Okay. From K. Kellogg, Necroman, great show. Thanks for autographing my arm next to my Necromantics tattoo in front of the blue bird in Denver. Get it tattooed over now.
Nice.
Well, Eric knows about a kilt thing.
See,
And
that's exactly.
Matt twins say that they like your sweater from Return of the Living Dead.
I think that one was from Hinz and Maurits H&M actually in Denmark.
Okay. There was a Hootenanny, there was HorrorPops, Tiger Army, Living End, Reverend Horton Heat.
Yes, I remember.
Was there a lineup like in one particular that all these bands were together?
I'm pretty sure that was they were all in the same.
That's cool. Were you playing the Hootenanny when the Stray Cats played?
Yes, that was the one. The Devil Smile video we just talked about. That's the one. That was a 2-dayer in Fullerton Stadium, and Stray Cats played, and Little Richard played, and Social D, and so yep.
Wow. And so I haven't asked you much about the Stray Cats. Were you influenced by the Stray Cats at all?
I don't know if I was influenced. I always liked the Stray Cats because they were like one of the early ones too. I mean, they did something totally different. I don't want to sound like an old record, but like I only like the old stuff. But I think the first stuff they came out with was very different, and I think mostly in attitude. I like that attitude because it just appealed to me. Like, you know, it was rockabilly, but it was not rockabilly. It was punk, but it was not punk. It was something in between.
And it was not psychobilly either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely I would call myself a Stray Cats fan. Yeah. I mean,
same here.
And maybe Lee Rocker I could say he's like an inspiration, not his playing style because his playing style is so different from mine. But I mean, we haven't really talked about that, but all the different styles people have, it's all, does it fit in the band? That's what matters, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I always say, like, if it fits in the song, if the song requires something, that's what you should do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can change that yourself. I mean, you can, if the song, you can add that. So you choose how you make the sound, and that's just how it is. I mean, but the musicians are the creators, and I'm just trying to say that, you know, maybe Lee Rocker wouldn't be perfect in Nekromantics. I don't know if I could do it the other way around, but it's just very different.
Yeah.
Style
approach. Yeah.
Yeah.
Victor says, Bassmaster Kim, greetings from Mexico. Your music rules. And Cloudberry is saying you Super Bad is a teen comedy. So
okay, let's see.
Let me see. Dead Bodies Everywhere cover is badass.
Thank you.
They're talking about covers, but then there's like, I'm not gonna read every single.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I'm not gonna read everything. This is ridiculous. I mean, it's great. Have you mentioned your string preference? You did. Rotor sound. I'm not sure if you mentioned the model. Which particular rotor sounds are you using?
The RP, they call it Rotor Sound Superbs, RP 4000, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the only one for upright bass, really.
Oh, okay. Joel is asking me, is your Blast Scout fingerboard full radius? It is. It's made for the bow, for bowing. It's not made just for slapping. What about, this is for you, Tyler, what about making a custom bass? I still have the one you signed. Same from Tyler.
I'm not sure I understand the question. If I make a custom bass, or
I mean, all your bases are custom, so I'm not sure. So maybe it's like, are you going to be making custom bases for customers?
no, I don't know, because most of my stuff is what you would call a prototype, and then the prototype ends up being what I use. But no, I don't see me per se as a person building custom bases for people. I mean, maybe repairing. I've done that in the past, worked on people's stuff, but maybe
Not your thing for now. Depends for how long the COVID continues.
Yeah.
From Francisco, how do you compose your songs?
Well, we kind of talked about that already.
Okay, so read follow the beginning of this.
The only thing I didn't talk about, well, I talked about the lyrics and how I kind of forced myself to write the lyrics, but the actual songs, it all depends. Some songs comes like in the shower. Some songs come when I'm jamming around on the bass. Some songs come on my kazoo. Some songs on the guitar. Some songs takes half an hour to finish. Some a year, or you put them in the back and then you bring it out again. So
some never.
All the variations you can imagine.
Have you ever been to Upton Base in Mystic, Connecticut?
No, I have not.
Ever tried Patricia for NEKROMANTIX guitar?
Well, when we met, she was playing guitar in her other band. So, but no, that's almost like incest. That's too much being together.
What do you think about filters from pickups?
I like them. I like T.B. Jones.
Do you remember the drunk girl in Gothenburg screaming after Psycho Bitch is out of hell through the entire show? You then played it, and after she kept screaming for it. Embarrassing.
I mean, I don't remember the particular one, but that's not the first time it happened.
Oh yeah. Do you play drunk?
No.
Do your basses have a sound post?
They do, but they do not have a normal sound post.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't even know. I can't even show that, because it's not like it's a secret. I can't show it because, well, let me see if I can take a picture and then show it.
So while you're doing that, I will answer a question for myself from James. Love your bass playing on Ready Steady Go with Drake Bell. Well, I did not play on that record. That was Joe Fick actually played on that record. I joined and met Drake after that record was already recorded. And I did do all the promo shows and everything, but I did not play on it. All right, from Drew. If you didn't play your coffin bass, is there a brand you enjoy playing?
Well, for me to play in?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would probably play for Rammstein, because they...
Sorry, brand.
Oh. Ooh. I don't care, because I've made my own regular bases too. I don't just make coffin bases.
You made Patricia's basses, right?
Yeah, both of hers. So there's no particular brand, because bases are pretty... It's not rocket science. They're pretty... I mean, it's like guitars are not rocket science. I mean, it's all about the sound you get. Of course, they need to be set up proper, the right wood, the right cuttings, and all that stuff needs to be... But it's also about the craftsmanship, of course. So, okay, so I wanted to show my sound post.
Wow.
You see?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's inside the coffin.
It's made out of what?
It's called I think it's called a turnbuckle. I think that's the name of it. You get it at Home Depot. This one is aluminum. I have the ends on this one has rubber. I've made others where they have wood or cork. This one is rubber to dampen any potential feedback.
So you're using the sound post kind of the opposite way what traditional sound post would be used for, right?
I mean, depends. Like right now, I kind of cranked it up because we use it as an instrument, but when I amp it up again,
Because I know if I understand correctly, classical basses are usually the sound posts were usually made like to kind of like not to move the sound from the top like to the bottom, kind of like to have that whole kind of acoustic thing.
Yeah, the science behind it is to transfer to the back.
Yes,
that's the sound post for, and like you have a certain preferred, maybe upwards. You get a little less mid-tony, and you can hear when you play a really well-made classical instrument.
Yeah.
When you play amped or the quality basses we play, I think it's very subtle. Of course, it changes a little bit.
Okay. Do you recall when you dropped Jeff's bass Calavera on stage and landing on the bridge? It was the American Nightmare Festival in Pomona.
I don't think that ever happened. I would never. Did I play his bass?
Well, that's for James. Kim, is there any plans for Nekromantics online store or any new merch?
Well, thanks for kicking my ass, but yeah, we should. There are no plans, and I have to tighten it up because so far I've been like, why would I do a fucking store when it's so much more fun and easier for people to buy it when we are on the road? But yeah, we'll get around to it. I promise.
Question for both of you. Before a show, do you guys warm up? We actually did answer this one. Just watch the beginning.
Super lazy. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we're almost close. We're pretty much ending these comments. Texas Mickey Molotov Cocktail asks, do you remember playing with the Psychobilly band from Edmonton, Canada called Hellfire Special?
Was that in that hole with the wooden floor? I think so.
And are ponytails allowed in Psychobilly?
There are no rules in Psychobilly, so
everything is allowed.
What's that?
So everything is allowed.
Everything
is allowed.
I mean, I'm not the one making the rules, so I just make the rules for my band, and that's it.
And democratic rules and
yeah.
Do you find it hard to play bass just hanging out by yourself? Like, do you find it gets boring without a band?
No, not at all.
Okay. All right. I think that we're done with these questions. It's been a long time. Is there anything else that you can play? Would you like to play something? I would like to hear you play more.
Still anybody on there? I think they all left.
Yeah, they're still here. Yeah, there's still questions coming up. And let me see. I think that I have to re-add you to the stream because your connection got a little bad. Somebody says Kim's connection's bad. So let me just remove you and add you back real quick.
All right.
Okay, hopefully this is gonna fix it. And he's gone. Gone.
Okay.
It's better. Um,
Okay. So I don't. You want me to play something?
yeah, if you don't mind, like like one like for the bye-byes.
Just one for the road.
Somebody asked, like, can you play Rot in Hell?
I can, but that's kind of boring playing that alone.
Thank you, SK, for letting me know about the connection. Hopefully this fixed it. What brand do you smoke, Tyler?
I actually don't smoke cigarettes anymore. I haven't smoked since 2009. I only vape.
Ah, okay. Alrighty, so what you gonna play?
I don't know. I'm thinking. Can you hear me all right? You hear it?
Yes.
Okay. Let me see. Down, 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 down. The stream of mummies dead that causes the shiver and the quakes. Out of the tombs come 60 souls, dead causes our wakes. The restless headless horseman is looking for his hat. Aquana smelling witch is eating coffee nails with a bat. Upstairs the Frenchy she knows shepherd by that shit you know. I recommend you turn the phone to mended bondage. I go back in that old haunted cat house. If only I could turn back time, that's where I would be back in that old haunted cat house. Where all my friends they used to go, all pleasures were for free. Yeehaw! Oh yeah, baby. Whoa! Bloody Mary and King Kong is kissing my lost soul's cry. Hand in hand, watching measles and stars on the midnight sky. A ghastly crew of wicked men arrive in the bat would be. Hang on, don't fly the UFO. Ooh, what a thrill back in that old haunted cat house. If only I could turn back time, that's where I would be back in that old haunted cat house. If only I could turn back time, that's where I would be. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, boom, boom, boom. Woo! Back in that old haunted cat house. If only I could turn back time, that's where I would be back in that old haunted cat house. Where all my friends they used to go, all pleasures were for free back in that old haunted cat house. If only I could turn back time now, that's where I would be back in that old haunted cat house. If only I could turn back time, that's where I would be. You guys ready for this last part?
Yeah.
Back in in a row. Well, on the cat out. My pony, I could turn back time, that's where I will be back in a row. Well, how, whoa, yeah. Woo! Oh, Lord. Yeah, boom, tick, tack, toop, pop, boom, tick, together, boom, tick, whoop, 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 papa, toop, tap, boom, tick, charuchi, churi, pop, toop, pop, boom, 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 boom. Woo! Oh, Lord. Ow! Oh. Okay, the mic died.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks so much. All right. I have one last question for you.
All right.
What does inspire you to still do what you've been doing through all this time and still find the energy and humor and creativity and all of that?
Because I'm having so much fucking fun. That's why. I enjoy every moment of it.
Great answer. Thanks so much, Kim. Thanks a lot for being a part of the Slapstream.
You're welcome.
I'm really glad we made this happen, and I know it will be hard during the normal times when we were both on the road all the time.
Yeah.
And at least something came out good out of this whole mess.
Exactly. Thank you for having me on the show.
Of course, of course. I'm really glad you were able to make it, and I can't wait to try that bass and that tension and then flexible fingerboard and those bump over tricks and all that.
You might fall in love.
Yeah, I might start playing coffin bass and bug you. Hey, make one for me. All right. Thanks again. And hope to see you play live somewhere soon.
Likewise. Thank you.
All right, guys. Like, this is officially the longest one, the longest 3 hours and 43 minutes, 44 minutes. Thanks a lot for all of you. You were great. And I really appreciate all these comments and really made this day feel much better with all these fires around. And thanks a lot for watching the Slap stream. As you might not know, this is the only live stream dedicated to slap bass technique on the upright bass. And I've been doing this this is the 14th episode. I plan to do this as long as you guys are here, as long as you're interested. And I'll ask you to show the support by subscribing to the channel. If you're not subscribed, please do that. If you want to support even more, become a Patreon on the Patreon website. The link is below. Or if you feel like donating, it's PayPal and Venmo. Links are down below. And the most important, follow Art of Slap Bass and follow Kim, follow me. All the links are below. And again, thanks to the slaptastic graphics from Fernando from Buenos Aires, who made all these little things look really cool, and the intro video and the flyers and all the graphics. He moved to Spain, so from now on he's going to be Fernando from Spain. And as always, don't forget, never fret, slide it in smooth and keep it in the groove. This is Djordje, your friendly neighborhood bull fiddle cat, and I'll see you next Saturday.